DK Metcalf from the Seattle Seahawks, and you're watching NorbCam.
What's up, everybody? This is NorbCam coming at you with another roundtable. Boy, every roundtable seems to become more and more epic as the season progresses. This one, no different, as the stakes are becoming ever so high, and we're going to just jump right into it here with the roundtable. Sorry about the delay. As usual, we got to get this technical stuff. There seems to be always a new challenge every week, just like the Seahawks face a new challenge every week. But before we get into it, we do have a little bit abbreviated. One day we're going to have the entire roundtable here, but for right now, it's just going to be the four of us. We've got, and I want to introduce you right now, we've got in the top left, we got DJ Squabo. What's up, Noah? Good to have you in here, man.
Pleasure to be here. It's a beautiful day in Pullman.
Yeah, you were here back on the west side for a brief stint, but back to the Palouse again, man. So I'm glad you had a chance to see your family and spend some time with, you and Steezy got together too, right?
I was actually in that room this morning. Surprise, surprise.
All right. So you guys are closer than it even appears on camera. So good to have you back on here, man. And of course, to the right is the coach of Coach's Corner, Coach Bill Marsh. Good to see you again,
Hey,
man.
NorbCam, how are you doing? It's good to see you guys. Glad to be back, man. And great to hear that it's still going well over there in Pullman, a.k.a. the Harvard of the Northwest, for those who aren't aware of that. So good to know that things are well over there, even though you sent some snow this way, man. So great stuff. And Steezy, great to see you as well, buddy.
Yeah, speaking of Steezy, good toss over there. Steezy, good to see you, man. Welcome back to the roundtable.
I love seeing all you guys. Can't wait.
Boy, it's there's so much going on. So again, these guys, check out their info. They have their links in the description. I know every one of these guys would love to have another subscriber under their belt. It helps us all in the world of YouTube. As for me, same thing. I would greatly appreciate it if you hit that like, smash that like button, and give me a sub. We're all trying to hit those end of the year goals, so it would be great. Also, too, if you guys want to be part of the discussion. There's a lot of people in the chat, but if you really want to get our attention, if you do hit a super chat, this little light up 12 button, which courtesy of the Seahawks to all the season ticket holders this year, will light up, fingers crossed, as well as the usual notification that happens if a super chat is alerted. So yeah, ring that little bell, and get that super chat going. That thing will light me up and tell all of us that super chat is on the way. So let's do this thing, guys. We got a lot to cover today, a variety of subjects, and we got a tight time frame. And so let's jump right into it. Let's talk about this game that we just came victorious in, the Washington football team. Seahawks getting the win, 20-15. Let's just kind of go around the horn. I just want to kind of get your overall feelings. We'll start with just kind of what you thought was good, and I want to hear what you guys thought was not so good. So let's start, Squab. Let's start with you. What was your overall take on this game?
Norb, I will happily give you my take. Can I give that quick shout out that we talked about?
First, absolutely, man.
If I may. For those of you who don't know, I just got back from the West Side. I do want to give a big, huge thank you to CZA Smith for letting me stay at his apartment, despite he already has a whole bunch of roommates and he still found room for one more. So thank you so much. He was extremely hospitable and obviously my brother. So thank you very much for letting me stay with you. While I was on the West Side, I was able to meet with my sister, who gave me a really, really cool gift. And I want to share that with you guys right now. You're not going to be able to see it because it's green, but it's a signed Seahawks jacket, and I don't think you can see it, but
it's transparent.
This signature is from Russell Wilson.
Whoa,
that's pretty solid.
She got me the big fish to sign the jacket, but even more importantly, I wanted to save the best for last. She is a recovering drug addict. She last partook in drugs on August 13th, 2018, and she's done a tremendous job of turning her life around for the best. And she has 5 beautiful children, and I got to play with some of them, and it was really incredible. So I'm extremely proud of her. Her name's Theresa Boelter. I'm so proud of you, sister. I love you very much. Thank you for the incredible gift. Happy holidays, and congratulations on being clean.
That's awesome, man. Wow, what a wonderful
stuff.
gift from her, but more importantly, a gift for herself, really, to get herself back on the right track and everything. You say her name, was it Teresa?
Theresa.
Theresa. All right, Theresa. Congratulations, and that's awesome. So happy for you and your family, man. That's great. All right, so you ready to break this down a little bit? Let's start with the good. You know, obviously a lot of good, but more good about this win against the Washington football team. Your overall impressions on the positive side.
I really liked our game plan heading into it. The fact that we were suppressing the pass rush at such a high rate in this ball game by running quick screens, quick plays, quick reads, getting rid of the ball really quick. Russell Wilson was extremely decisive in this game, at least early on. And that's what helped us build the lead that we were able to do defensively. We did our thing. Our defense has been rolling for the past month, more than a month, actually. And we've just been playing really good ball. So all around, I thought we had a really good game. But specifically, I liked how quick our reads were offensively. There were a couple drives that I wanted to punch in for touchdowns, but regardless, we were able to put points on the board, and we took the points, which is another really big and important thing that we were able to do. So offensively, we came out firing, and we did a really good job and kept it clean.
And those points were important. You know, if we don't get those 2 field goals, which add up to 6, we were only ahead by 5. So, I mean, if we didn't get those points and didn't take them, who knows what that end drive would have looked like. How about Coach Marsh? You and I did our Coach's Corner show yesterday, and you went into quite some detail about how we neutralized Chase Young. So if you guys really want to get some X's and O's and some details from everything from footwork to scheme to, you know, the 3 E's of effort and all that kind of stuff, check out our Coach's Corner show. But let's get your general take on just what you liked about this game against the Washington football team.
Yeah, what I really like the most going into it and coming out of it is the fact that we're really starting to create a personality on both sides of the ball, and of course in special teams where you actually do have personality because we're so consistent. But the fact that defensively we're starting to play really aggressive, we're coming after guys, and offensively we're doing what you and I have been talking about all season, which is letting Russ cook from the standpoint of not having big yardage games, but just keeping it simple, moving the ball, moving the chains. Basically getting back to that defense wins championships, running the football, keeping the clock moving, winning it in the fourth quarter. So I felt like the recipe for what is Seattle Seahawks football success was exemplified almost to a T in the game.
Yeah, absolutely. Stacey, how about you? Your overall positive take on this win over the Washington football team?
I think the fact that we were able to neutralize such a good pass rush, we finished with no sacks allowed against a team that's top 5 in the NFL in sacks. And so that was definitely a great thing to watch, the fact that we gave Russell Wilson a clean pocket for the most part. But I think another good thing I wanted to point out was just the fact that in the fourth quarter, we collapsed. We didn't score any points. Our defense was starting to let up a little bit, but how would I phrase this? So we bent, but we didn't break. And in the fourth quarter, we led 20-3 entering the fourth quarter, and by the end of the game, it was 20-15. So it kind of got a little dicey, a little close at the end. But I think that at the end of the day, the fact that we were able to hold up despite that mini collapse in the fourth quarter, and we ended it with 2 straight sacks to kind of end the game. LJ Collier and then Carlos Dunlap with yet another game-saving, game-clinching sack at the end. That just goes to show just how significant his addition to the team was at the trade deadline. And so I think that bodes well for us heading into the playoffs because we're going to be dealing with a whole lot of adversity going up against better teams. And so at the end of the day, we were able to pull it off and get the victory.
Yeah, and we're definitely going to, in the next round, is I want to get your guys' critical side of things of that game. My positive take on that, there was a lot of good things. I think the best one is what I've been hoping the Seattle would lean on and would be able to do more leaning on this year or this part of the season, which was to run the football. I think we've been saying all along that Russell is great when he's got a running game to lean on, and that running game was fueled by Chris Carson running like a beast, breaking first contact on several runs. Then you had Carlos Hyde breaking that long run. Rashad Penny now back in the mix. He had a nice little gain, just warming him up, just getting him in there. And then Russell Wilson taking off and running for like a 35 or something like that run. I mean, just seeing that happening that on offense is such a refreshing sight because to me, that's Seahawks football. That's what we've been watching for the past 9 seasons. And I feel like if we continue to do that, that is going to neutralize other teams who, like the Packers. We talk about the Packers being one of the toughest teams to face. their defense, it can be a little bit suspect. I feel like the run is the one way you can keep the dangerous offense off the field and take advantage of their weaknesses. So I love seeing the run game. And then, yeah, you brought up those 2 sacks in the end. It's like, would have liked to have seen a few of those earlier because, man, you have to save it to the very end, but at least it showed up. But up to that point, it was like, where's the pressure? Where's the pressure? And suddenly it came. So I would just, would love to have seen that a little bit earlier. But yeah, I think the running game was the main thing. But yeah, Russell Wilson, again, the one pick, which I think we could have avoided. Other than that, he was pretty solid and didn't have to have a monster game. I mean, that's the thing, is he doesn't have to throw for 34, 35, 40 attempts and over 400 yards. He can get it done with such a small thing. We've broken that down and talked about it ad nauseum on this show. So it's nice to see them doing that, and I think he's got no problem with that. So I was happy to see that. And then special teams, man. I mean, what more can you say about Jason Myers and Michael Dixon, man? It's the best kicking crew we've ever had. And those guys are money. Even when you don't think about what they're doing it and changing the game with every time they put their foot on the ball. So, yeah, that's just a lot of other great things, but I'll kind of stop there. But let's talk about the things that we'd like to, that weren't so good, that, would hopefully not repeat itself, especially in an upcoming title game here for the NFC West crown against the Rams on Sunday. What are some of the bad things that we saw? Start back to you, Squabs.
If I may, there's actually, can I comment on the sack that you guys are talking about? Because Morgan Moses got manhandled by Carlos Dunlap on the second to last play.
Yeah. Feel free to embellish. Yes.
That was just absolutely gorgeous. Remember back when we added Jamal Adams, I was talking about, and I know the roundtable here completely agrees with this thought, that by bringing in these guys, we are giving ourselves an opportunity that when we are in these close games, these players can make a play at any point that can drastically change or win us a ball game. And that's what we just saw happen. So it's important to highlight that and appreciate the fact that we brought this guy in halfway through the season. And in his previous press conference after the game, when the Seahawks clinched the playoff berth, him and Jamal Adams were talking about how they were supposed to be planning their vacations right now, not expecting to extend their season in the postseason. And he is beyond happy. He's beyond grateful. He's just thanking Seattle for saving his season in that sense, because he would be going cleaning out his locker room already. Jamal Adams as well, just the joy in his eyes. They've never, or Dunlap has, but Adams has never experienced a playoff. So this is such a big thing for them. And he had such a tremendous impact. Another thing that I did like that we did that I forgot to bring up was the fact that our hard count finally worked. We were drawing the defensive line across, and we were able to do it with the hard count. We've been running it for some time. Russell Wilson likes to do it, but it hasn't been working, and we finally got somebody. I know it was a great way to suppress that pass rush. It's going to be very important again this week, and we saw towards the end of the half, the last thing I wanted to bring up that was good was Ugo Amadi made a tackle inbounds when time was running out and Washington was going down the field. They still ended up scoring, but Amadi made a really good hustle play to tackle inbounds, and situationally, that's going to be huge against the Rams. That could have cost Washington points, and it could cost the Rams points this week if we're able to play so successfully. The one thing that I thought stood out the most, other than our offensive lackadaisical approach in the second half, defensively, I think, and I brought this up before in my Everything Wrong with the Seahawks video, we need to start blitzing more from the second level. And what I mean by that is, even when we have linebackers blitzing, they're down at the first level with the defensive line by the time the ball is snapped. And what that does is it doesn't allow them to have as much momentum going into it. And if you're having linebackers and DBs blitzing when they're already standing right there, they're just going to get worked, because offensive linemen are built for the trenches. When they're out in space is when you're going to beat them with your speed. And that's the advantage that we have with some of these guys back there. So I want to see the same guys blitzing, but I want to see us timing it more, waiting until the snap of the football and then blitzing a little bit later so that we can use our speed, get them in space, and confuse the offense a little bit more.
Yeah, very well put. That was supposed to be your negative rant, but that was all pretty positive. But no, there was still so much good stuff in there. I wanted to quickly recognize Nick LeBeau in the super chat. I don't know if you noticed, the little 12 lit up to get my attention there. So Nick LeBeau says, props to Montez Sweat for lining up offsides. Thank you very much. Yes, Montez Sweat. And Kyle Anderson says, a very Merry Christmas to the roundtable. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Kyle Anderson, for being here and watching, and also for the well wishes. and Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays to you and your family as well. Feel free to just kind of jump in. I wanted to go to the critical side, but maybe we haven't showered enough praise on this team. I want to just really, again, I feel like I'm just stealing from Coach Morris because I learned all this stuff from watching your breakdown. But the way they neutralized that front four, because we talked so much about how this front four, particularly Chase Young, was going to be just a beast to contend with. And you never really heard Chase Young's name at all. I mean, Russell Wilson was kept sack-free, which I think people were expecting 4 or 5 sacks in that game. So, and then just the fact that they're able to run the ball successfully, and I think their aggressive nature, actually, they used it against them because some of them, sometimes like the offsides, they're getting upfield and leaving some holes open, as you pointed out in your coach's corner, Coach Marsh. I just love that. And that just shows to me that we got to give credit to where credit is due, because Ken Norton schemed, well, he has the defensive side, but even on the offensive side of the ball, our coordinators who have to set up the scheme, a lot of that stuff, we see the results, but we don't appreciate that they had to set this up. And how did we neutralize that line? Well, it was a lot of scheming and a lot of preparation and little things to make it so that we could deal with a line like that and not have to be talking about how they dominated and took over. They were pretty much neutralized, and I love the fact that they took care of that and gives hope for teams moving forward with like LA with the Aaron Donald types on the line. So. Yeah, I agree totally with you, man. Anyone else want to jump in with anything that you wanted to cover?
Praising a second round of praise, putting a second round of praise on these guys. One of the things we've been talking about for weeks a while back was getting rid of Ken Norton and, what's going on with the offense and those things. And so now all of a sudden, you see a game where you literally saw that coaching had taken place. And it doesn't mean that they're not coaching during the week, but they only have a couple days. And also now they had to really prepare for a vaunted defense where you got a spectacular player up on the front side, and then an offense where specifically what quarterback's going to play and the type of game that he's going to play because he's a short drop type of player. And the fact that we did things on both sides of the ball that you could see both from a coordinator standpoint, but also down to the position coaching standpoint. Our tight ends have come along so well throughout the course of this season from a standpoint of not only catching the ball and not only blocking, but there were plays where we are shifting them and then motioning another tight end so that they could both get in a position where they can then block the best, one of the best defensive linemen in the league right now. And they were doing it exceptionally well, and their footwork was so much better. And same with our left tackle, who I've been getting on quite a bit at times. And again, I usually just talk positions, not so much names. He was having a hard time getting out of his stance, getting into his stance, getting back, doing the slide shuffle, all those different things. He was forced to do it because of a Chase Young, but it was just so nice to see him actually doing it and see that V, pocket protection. So again, as a coach, I love when I can see even at that level for a week-to-week adjustment from a staff, a week-to-week adjustment from coordinators, but definitely to see position coaching taking place, because oftentimes you just don't see it. And you feel like guys in the NFL, they probably don't need it. They needed it for this game, and I think they received it. So I was really excited to see it from that standpoint. So that's another appraising side, but I definitely have some things that we need to fix.
All right,
when time comes.
We're going to get to that. Steezy, do you want to add any other praise you want to heap on the Seahawks before we cut them down with some criticisms?
I don't want to give them too much, so we can move on.
Okay, all right. So let's just, again, this will transition to when we start talking about preparation for the LA Rams. But what are some of the things that could have been better about this game? Squabs.
Oh, I already kind of talked about it. Offensively, I thought we lost it a little bit in the second half. I want to see us keep being explosive. I want to see us keep taking those shots. And if I may transition a little bit towards the Rams, this isn't going to be one of my keys, but one of the things that we're going to need to do this week that we didn't do at times towards the second half of the Washington game was we need to take those shots and we need to continue to be decisive. Early on, we saw decisiveness from Russell Wilson, slicing his way down the field, finding open receivers and taking chances on one-on-one situations. We need to continue that against the Rams. That's one of the things that we didn't do last time that we played them, and it was a big reason why we came out on the loss with a loss in that ball game. So I didn't think we were very decisive in the second half, Russell Wilson, and that's part of the reason why we weren't able to keep that game with the spread that it was when we built that lead. But also defensively, the blitzing from the second level is really big for me. Like I said, it not only does it confuse the offensive line, it changes assignments for offensive linemen based on how you align defensively. And when you do those like last second shifts for a defensive line, they do that during the cadence because they want to confuse the offensive lineman on what their jobs are. Because if you switch last second, now it goes from being my guy to your guy. So you have to take a whole nother angle. Your whole first step should theoretically be the same. But if you have to get a different guy, that's going to change your first step. So in that sense, it confuses offensive lines and it allows our space guys to make moves in space. So blitz from the second level is my defensive fix for this week.
All right. Steezy, how about you?
Well, we heard DJ Reed in his press conference, and I think he was spot on. He was talking about how the defense, they need to step it up on third down. You know, I know a lot of this was in the fourth quarter when they were trying to make a comeback, but Washington football team with the backup quarterback and Dwayne Haskins converted 58% of their third downs. They were 10-17 as opposed to Seattle, who I think were 5 of 11, 5 of 12. And so I think that a lot of that contributed to Washington almost making a comeback attempt in the fourth quarter. We played pretty dominantly on defense or on both sides of the football through the first 3 quarters, but in the fourth quarter, we saw that collapse a little bit. And I know I talked earlier about how we were able to finish, but I think that going up against a football team that was lacking, the starting quarterback, I just don't think that it should have gotten to that point where they were just putting up touchdowns. I think they had 2 consecutive touchdowns in the fourth quarter. And I think prior to that, they were second to the Cowboys in most consecutive drives without a touchdown. And so to see them put up 2 in a row and within a matter of a couple of minutes, I think that speaks to just how bad our third down defense was this past game. But overall, I thought we did a pretty solid job containing Dwayne Haskins. I mean, a lot of his numbers were just in the fourth quarter. And so I would like us to get off of the field on third down more. So that's the one issue that I have.
Yeah, very good point. Coach Marsh, how about you?
Yeah, so I'm going to build on top of what Steezy just said from a standpoint of I always used to tell our team, let's get off the field on first and second down, meaning a guy throws 55 times and we only have 2 interceptions, and one of them was a tip up that, kind of anybody could have had it, but then a great play on the dive. But a guy throws 55 times, again, great that we kept him to under 300 yards. But man, if someone says a team's going to throw 55 yards in the NFL, you like to think you're going to get 3, maybe 4 interceptions, cause a couple fumbles. When was the last time that we've had, 1, if not 2, scoop and scores or, things where we're just making some big plays on defense. So even though the defense is playing kind of this bend but don't break, which I like, we're keeping the scores lower. We're not trying to get into these shootouts where it's 35-32. I mean, it's been amazing how, as we kind of come into this latter part of the season, the scores on both sides have dropped to the scoring system that I like for us to have, which is keep them low and we stay low. But man, I just don't like that we're not making those big plays. And I think we're getting away with the little things that we can't that we're not going to get away with against other teams or in the future. And it may not be so much little things. Again, like Russ, we get a great play. He can scramble out, make some things happen, but instead of throwing it away, he ends up just get it tipped. And then there's an interception, against him. And same thing defensively on the Hail Mary at the end, like we discussed last night in the coach's corner. Again, that Hail Mary, instead of batting it down, he tries to catch it. It falls, bounces off his knee. Maybe they catch it right there, and now game over. Other direction. So we are playing razor thin football, which we've been doing all year round. It's a staple to how we've been winning for the course of the last 10 years. It's why we're second winningest program in the NFL. But at the same time, it can come and bite us when it can be season over. So those are a couple of things that I just wish we would really focus on. Making more plays on defense. When a guy's throwing that much, and also not trying to push things and force things when we just don't have to. Russ doing it and other little things we seem to be doing over and over and over, and we're getting away with it, but it's gonna bite us eventually.
Yeah, and just to add on top of the points you guys already made, I would just add to that is just penalties. We had that first drive where I think Ayele got called for a holding call when it would have been a first down run by Carson, probably setting up a score. Instead, it made it 1st and 20 or something like that and pretty much killed the drive and ended up being a field goal. So I know we didn't have that many penalties, but the timeliness of that particular one just to me started the game off to where we should have been up by at least double digits instead of by 6 points at that early part of the game. And so we just can't afford to do that. So hopefully they can keep the penalties down to a minimum. It's that execution thing that we talked about last week, executing the small stuff. And if they can play a clean game, then they won't have those back me up type of plays that result in first and long, second and long, third and long, and then keep drives alive. So.
Norb, you said the key thing there is the timeliness, right? When Russ throws the interception, that's in a crucial part of the game where they get the ball at midfield. Granted, there's never a time you want to have an interception take place, but they already had a little momentum going. Then it's a half field drive, then they score. So when we're talking timely penalties and those other things, you never want any of those things to happen. But when they do happen, it does seem like that they're just in crucial or brutal situations that other teams, then they convert on them. So that's a great call on your part. It's the timeliness of when those things seem to happen that it's just like, oh man, now's not the time.
Yeah. And like you said, against Washington and Haskins, we could afford to do that. But against a better team, again, like you said, that came down to a Hail Mary that almost could have been caught by Washington. So it was razor thin.
And what we're speaking about there, if you didn't, those of you that didn't get to watch last night, on the game, it's really hard to see the color of the football matches the end zone color. So in the game, when you're just watching it live on Sunday afternoon, it looked like we almost had it and then it just bounced. But when you watch the end zone coach's view, that ball, he goes up to try to intercept it, and then when he comes down, it literally bounces off his knee, and it just takes a 45-degree angle, and there's a receiver standing right there, probably missed it by about 12 inches. If that ball bounces up a little bit more, he would have easily caught the ball, as opposed to just batting it down. So again, that not to get tight into what he needed to do, but that's what it really came down to was, just a matter of inches, different ball game. Yeah. Even though we just had 2 great sacks, it was 4th and long, and they'd been it was their 10th play of the drive.
Could you imagine? Great. Could you imagine the week that would be right now if they actually caught that and won the game on the Hail Mary? Can you imagine how miserable for Seahawks fans this Christmas week would be? I don't think I'd be wearing my
Santa wouldn't be coming to Seattle, Norb.
Yeah, that's right. The Santa hat would be the last thing, the closest thing we'd have. So thank goodness.
Steezy would have tossed his TV out the window and asked for a new. He'd be like, Steezy, you can't be swearing on Sundays. Santa's not coming to your house.
Oh man, that would have been horrible. So sometimes we're just lucky, man. In that case, not lucky bounce for Washington, a lucky bounce for us. Anyway, so I do want to transition to some other things here because we got to wrap this show up in about an hour. 6:40 is my hard out, so we're going to have to keep an eye on the clock. So before we move off Washington, we got to do our thing where we review our scores from last week and see who got closest. So here we go. The scores, predictions of the Seahawks-Washington game. Here's how we did.
28-14 Seattle.
I have the Seahawks winning 27-21. It's going to be close, but I think the Seahawks will make one of those clutch drives at the end.
We're going to lose this one, 24-17.
The Seahawks come out on top, 28-17.
Based on a challenge flag, we win it on a Myers field goal. Seattle 27, Washington 24 in overtime.
I'm going to go 26-15 Seattle.
So there you go. Closest to the pin was Steezy at saying we were going to win 26-15. So you get the bragging rights win on the most accurate call. Did you win it? Did you win it last week too?
I did for the first time.
Yeah, so that's 2 in a row, man. You called the closest on that. You got actually the score of Washington exact, which is pretty impressive given that 15 is not exactly a number you normally call out, right? You usually go like 13, right. 14, 17, 20. You pick the odd 15 number, which probably is a pretty low percentage, yet you got it right, and you just gave us a few extra points. Probably should have been 26. 15,
Steve, you talking to those officials or something?
26.
You working with officials, get that score? You're like that game that the guy pulled the football a few inches to get the first down? Yeah, man, I hear it.
The Christmas check for the refs.
That was no kidding. Anyway, so good job, Steve, on guessing that one. So I guess now let's turn the page. Let's talk about this LA Rams game, the rematch. We got to avenge the loss from the earlier in the season down in Los Angeles. They're coming to our house in Lumen Field. And man, I mean, how could we have set this up any better to have the Jets beat the Rams? And nobody in the world expected that, right? So they get this improbable win, setting up this all everything on the line game that where Seattle can actually clinch the NFC West title back and bring the crown back to Seattle on Sunday. How good is that, man? So let's talk about, I guess, kind of keys. Let's break this down to condense things. I guess we'll jump right into our keys to the game as we sort of just generally talk about it and then do your keys and anything else we can add to the conversation. Steezy, you won the prediction contest of the score, so I'll go with you first, man. What is the key to beating the Rams the second time around?
So I think number one, we have to look for DK. A lot of times, or going back to the game, to the last game against the Rams, a lot of people would say that, Jalen Ramsey shut him down, all that, blah, blah. I've had a lot of people tell me that, but I think that if you really break it down and watch what actually happened and watch what transpired, that's not what happened. DK only had a total of 4 targets, and there were just so many times where Russ just didn't even bother to look his way. And I've had a lot of people tell me, he wasn't looking his way because he was getting locked down. No, he was wide open, but Russ was kind of just scared to look in his direction. And Scrobbs brought it up multiple times. I remember after the game, he was talking about a lot about how Russ something was just off. He just didn't want to look for DK, even when he was open. There were so many times when DK was just throwing his hands up. He looked visibly frustrated. And prior to that game, I'd never seen DK, act up like that. And, that's how we know that, there were just so many times where he was open and Russ just didn't bother to look his way. And so I think that this time around, one way that we can get a dub this time around is to actually start looking for DK and look for him early and often. He is, a top 5 wide receiver in the NFL, especially this season. And so while he didn't have the best game statistically last game against the football team, he was still the most targeted and still came on with the most receptions. And so I think that this time around, 2 catches and 28 yards is not going to do it. And if he finishes with under 50, I don't really see us winning this football game. So key number one, we got to feed DK Metcalf early and often, really.
Hey, let's do this. Let's do this. Let's spread our keys around just that way we can kind of bounce it around. So hold on to that first key. It's the first key, DK, for Steezy. Let's go to Coach Marsh. What's your first key?
So the first one is I want Russ to actually read and react. So it's going to be kind of contrary to what Steezy said. And I hear where he's coming from, right? Like get DK the ball. I want DK to have the ball in his hands at times, but I want Russ to continue to do what he's been doing, which is read the play beforehand and then drop back and trust his instinct, like he did on that end zone, the pass when he threw it, the touchdown pass to our tight end. Great job in threading the needle. He wasn't looking for someone. He dropped back pre-read, turned after looking it off, and drilled a pass with about 2 inches to spare to make the touchdown. Those are the things I like him doing. If 2 or 3 of those could be to DK short and let him do his thing, man, love it. Because obviously we're successful as DK is successful too. But this is the second game in a row that we've had 7 or more receivers catch the football. So that to me is my first big key. Just read, pre-snap read, and then let his instincts do the talking. All
right, sounds good. Squabo, what's your first key to this game?
Yeah, my first key to the game. I'm gonna keep it simple. Can you hear that Chachi in the background?
She agrees with you.
Is that Jared Goff? Is that Jared Goff?
If he keeps persisting, I'm gonna have to go get him. Just come back to me for the keys. But look, so we're 24-21 all time in this series. We're leading by 3, but we've struggled as of late. We've lost 5 of the last 6. We've lost 8 of the last 11. So we need to get back on track. And now would be the best time to send the message at the end of the year. This is the most important game of our season. Before the year, we all circled Seattle at San Francisco, Week 17, the rematch of last year when they won in our house and won the division in that game. We were like, oh yeah, we're gonna have to go to San Fran this time and stick it to them in their own house. And I was so excited for that. But now we realize that's not the game that's most important. The most important game is this week. So this is very important. And how are we going to be successful in this week? The number one way is by doing what we did last week. And it has a little bit to do with what both of these guys are saying. Yes, get the ball to DK. Yes, read and react. What I needed is for us to get rid of the ball quickly and for us to win the sack battle in this ball game. Last time we played them, we lost 6-3, which is horrible. Our offensive line has been playing better, and we just played great against a phenomenal defensive front. We need to keep getting rid of that football extremely quickly, making fast reads, get the ball to DK early, let him get momentum. I want to see DK involved on the first drive, and I want to see him get the ball almost on the first play. Like, I want to see him get involved early because we need to send the message that he's going to be a part of this game plan. Obviously, we got Chris Carson back for this game, but that'll be a part of a different key. For this one, win the sack battle. That's going to be key number one for a victory versus the Rams.
All right. So for me, I think doesn't it feel like every time you do keys to the game, they're pretty much like recycling some form of the previous keys? Because it's not like you invent some new thing that no one's ever heard before. But so I'm going to sound kind of repetitive in this, but I want an up tempo. When I think of cooking, I think of cook the tempo up, speed the game along, quicker to the snap. I'd like to see him not get that snap, that play clock down to 1 second. Let's get it quicker. Let's maybe throw no huddle in there once in a while, and quicker on the throws. Coach Marsh, you alluded to it as well, that Russell be decisive. Like against Washington, he was so quick. He just knew where he was going to go, and he didn't hesitate. He just, boom, fired it in there. And I want to see more of that. And it could be to DK. It could be to Tyler. And I think we do that. Obviously, that means a shorter passing game, a little bit more just, beating the Rams at their own game. But I think we do that, and then like you said, we'll go to the other keys to sort of complement that. But, the more we start that just to establish the tempo, and then I think it'll open up for a lot of other things and just kind of get the flow going on. So that's my first thing, is pick up the tempo. Go up tempo a little bit here. So, Steezy, let's go to your key number 2.
So key number 2, Cam Akers, who's been on a tear lately, he's actually going to miss this game with a high ankle sprain. And in the last 4 games that he's been the starting running back for the Rams, he has over 400 yards rushing. And so I think that his absence is definitely going to hurt the Rams. And with that being said, we had to take advantage of his absence. And I think that in his absence, I think that we should shift more of our attention towards some of the other receivers that Jared Goff has at his disposal and send more guys after Jared Goff. Because I think that Jared Goff, for him to be successful, he needs a run game and play action to play to the best of his ability. And so I think that with the Rams having to rely on a combination of Darrell Henderson and Malcolm Brown, I know those two guys gashed us on the run last time around, but those guys haven't been the center of attention in terms of the run game. And so I think that with Cam Akers being out, I think that we should send more pressure after Jared Goff and kind of make them a little one-dimensional, make them pass the ball against us. And, it's going to be a lot harder for them to run the football without their best guy. And he's actually been one of the reasons why their offense has been a little more balanced in the last 4 or 5 games or so. And so I think that with Cam Akers out, we should shift and focus more of our attention on Jared Goff and some of his receivers. That's my key number 2 for getting the victory this weekend against the Rams.
All right. Coach Marsh, your second key.
Steezy, I don't want you to take it personal, man, because I think you got great keys. I'm just going a little different direction because mine are already pre-thought as well. That I think I want to really stuff their running game. We know it's going to be defensive struggle, but the fact, and here's why I say that. When they got to the end of the game, it's the first time I've seen McVay and Goff, I think, get a little nervous and not sure what to do when they were in serious passing situation. I'm talking about against the Jets, where they went the last 2 plays of the game, 3rd and 4, they went 2 wheel routes, crossing wheel routes, throw it 25 yards down the field. Then on 4th and 4, 3 verticals with 2 hitch routes, and Goff both times throws the 2 verticals when they needed 4 yards. So, I think that they're in a situation where they get a little desperate. It puts it in a position where Goff has to make things happen. So I'm agreeing, like, either stop the receivers or stuff the run, but make Goff become a passer, just like we did last week with Haskins. That's my biggest thing. Mm-hmm. Stuff their run, and make sure we're gonna. I'll save my last one for the next go around. All right,
Squabo, your second key to the game.
Man. I just want to say, for the record, I'm with Stacey on this one. I think their rush game was really bad last time. Their pass game was really good, and it's the reason that we lost. So I'm scared of their passing attack just because against us, they seem really comfortable. But my key for the game, we need to win the turnover battle. Last game, we lost it 3-1. They got a fumble. They had no picks. Jared Goff is a turnover machine. He's halfway into getting his baker's license with all the turnovers he creates on the field. Russell Wilson had 2 picks in the game and no touchdowns. We need to clean that up offensively. So by winning the turnover battle, not only are we turning Jared Goff into the turnover machine that he is, but also Russell Wilson and our offense is playing clean ball. So obviously it's something that we say every single week, but this week it's more important than ever because last time we played them, we lost it and we lost the game.
Yep, very, very good point. I want to remind everybody, some people were asking, are we doing trivia tonight? We are going to have a trivia contest at the end, courtesy of BJ Ayele, and this may be the easiest trivia contest we've ever had on the show. All right, just telling you, not to set your expectations too high, but you may be looking at some high scores here. All right, so for me, my second key on this one, you guys talked about it. Well, I will never stop praising Chris Carson and the running game. We've got to run the ball. We just got to do it. We've just got to make that a dominant part of our offense. And I think if we can rush for over 150 yards total, a minimum of 150 yards total, I think we're going to win this game. I'd like to see even more than that, but I think we can get over 150. I think we're going to control the game and we'll play our style of offense and keep the Rams have less touches on the field. So to me, it's all about the run game. So all Chris Carson. Let's get Rashad Penny going a little bit more. Carlos Hyde. I mean, just get all those guys going. I mean, we got it going on last week. Let's keep it going this game. And I think that will be one step closer to a victory. So let's go to our third key now. Back to Steez. What you got for your final key?
Yeah, so key number 3, it's simple, really. We just need to continue to protect Russell Wilson. Last 2 games, he's been sack-free. And when have we ever said that in his entire 8-9 year career? That's never been the case. And so, going up against that ferocious front 7 of the Los Angeles Rams, they still have the number 2 defense in the NFL despite that loss to the lowly Jets. And so with that being said, we need to continue to keep him sack free. And I know that's kind of hard to expect in this game, being that we're going up against Aaron Donald, Michael Brockers, and the rest of those boys. And so I'm not going to expect the Seahawks to keep him sack free. But I think if we hold the Rams to 2 sacks and under, I think that puts us in great position to win this football game. And one way we can keep Russell Wilson sack free, or maybe not taking as many sacks as he should be taking, I think that continue to do what we did in the last game, which is what Squad mentioned earlier. Continue to throw those short passes, those screen passes, those quick slants. Let's make those quick reads. Let's have some of the running backs stay back and maybe we don't need a max protect, but let's have one of the tight ends or the running backs kind of chip at the linebackers or any of the pass rushers and then run a route after doing that. And so I think that, going into this game, obviously this is a must win for both sides. The Rams are going to be highly motivated coming off a loss to the worst team of football. But at the same time, Seattle, it's been a while since we won the division. And so obviously both teams are going to want it. But I think that's really going to come down to us protecting Russell Wilson.
Yeah, you bring up a good point. This is a must win for both teams. And, a lot of people, I see a lot of fans just because they, oh, well, they lost to the Jets, so we should beat them easy. It's like, no. The mathematics, or what do you call it, Coach Bill, the transitive property of math?
Transitive property of equality.
I've been using that a lot lately. To say that, look, just because A beat B and B beat C doesn't mean A beat C. So it's exactly. Every game's a different thing. And, it's almost worse that they got their butt spanked by the Jets, because I think now they're doubly motivated to fix what went wrong. So you don't want to poke the bear. They've been poked, but now so we're gonna have to bring it no matter what. And that last game doesn't mean anything. So let's go to let's see. That was just you, Steezy, right? So Coach Marsh, how about your final key to the game?
Yeah, so I'm going to go a little squabbyism here in terms of the mentality of our team and the psychology of our team, because we've last time when we played them, we were in the middle of a big time funk. It was the third loss in about 4 games, I think it was, and then we played the game, and then we lose to the Giants, and now all of a sudden it's like, okay, where are we? We're just in this big time funk, and Squad was talking about Russ being super depressed, and we've got to get him help and all those things. And now you look at the team that we are now, and I think we're a totally different team because of the energy that Jamal Adams is playing with. The Russ confidence, it showed up when he, the hard pump of the fist when he scored the touchdown, when he threw the touchdown pass. So my third key is I want to see a bunch of Energizer bunnies out there. I want to see that ramped up excitable, like when the 12s are in the stadium and there's 67,000 people going nuts and it's just volume deaf and you just tell the players are dancing before kickoff and doing all those type of things. I want to see that out of us. And so it's not a hardcore football thing. It's more of some people don't believe in that type of thing. I do. I think momentum is a crazy thing in football. And when a guy like Adams gets going, when Russ gets pumped up, and it's not just the courtesy, hey, come on, let's go, but it's genuine getting after it. Like, that's what I want to see out of our guys. So I think if we bring the energy, that's to me is the biggest key, that we have plays that guys get excited on and they're excited for their teammates and our linemen hustling down the field. So it's an all around philosophy of everybody doing that 3E effort that I talk about all the time.
Yes, I love it. And it so bums me out that I would be at that game on Sunday if it had been a normal world and all the 12s would be in there just, screaming their lungs out. And it just sucks every time I think about it that we can't be there. So they have to manufacture their own energy. They got to be their own energy bunnies, that you said. But I do agree. Jamal Adams, his energy is infectious out there. You can see him after every play. You hear him in the press conference talking about how much he interrupted the whole thing just to say, "Oh, this is great. I'm just not used to this," and it's so refreshing, right? Because you don't get that entitlement feel from him, from a guy who's such a high level all pro. He's never experienced this in his life. So to see that genuine is like a kid on Christmas. I mean, literally,
it's exactly right. It's exactly what I was going to say, because I spoke to someone this morning about that very thing, that Jamal Adams, it was like when you received Seahawks tickets when you were younger, even as an adult, when you give season tickets to somebody for a game or something, they get so excited. That's the bummer about what's going on right now, right? Like, how many people in Seattle are not going to receive somebody else's tickets on Christmas morning? I mean, imagine what it's like if you're the Jets and someone gave you, I'm not sure if they're playing home or away, but it was some team like that where someone gave away their Jets tickets, so they just want to give it away, and some kids open it up like, really? You gave me Jets tickets for Christmas? But Seahawks tickets, man, you get excited about this type of a game 2 days after Christmas, so I hope that people are going to do what they can to scream and yell and bring the energy out. Because, again, when I saw out of Adams in that post game, I mean, I was getting choked up so much seeing his energy and his just pure passion. When people talk about, well, they just do it because they get paid or they do it for this. No, he was so genuinely excited to go to the playoffs and really kind of called us out as fans, which is what I really liked. The fact that he called out Seattle in terms of, hey, you guys are used to this. I know it's all, whatever for Seattle, but this is new for me. So winning an NFC West title, that's new for him. Being in a championship game, this is his first ever championship game in the NFL this week, right? For the NFC West title, hang a banner, to do all those different things. As a coach, you're always looking for those type of things in a player that can maybe spark the other guys that might get complacent, guys that have been here for a while. And so even though Russ will bring that type of energy, having that new flavor come in with the Jamal Adams and the energy and the flavor and the excitement, I'd be telling him, hey, look, Jamal, we're not going to talk before the game. Coaches are going to leave the locker room. You say what you got to say for as long as you need to say. Give us the time frame you want. You say what you need to say, and then we're going to go out and play the game. Because I think players, the power of a player is so much more than the power of a coach in a pregame talk. And he exemplifies everything we want a player to be right now.
Well, I don't know if you guys listen to if you go to the Seahawks YouTube channel, they turn this around amazingly fast on a Sunday game, and they have it on Tuesday. So last night they aired it. It was the what do you call it? It's like they're kind of behind the scenes on the field stuff where they have all the cameras, the play-by-play all edited. I don't know how they turn it on so fast. It's impressive, but. Jamal Adams, he's in there. He's leading the chants. That big team huddle before the game starts. He's the one leading that. At least one of them. I've seen that for several games now, and it's great. Because he's a new guy on the team technically, but obviously he's risen up as a leader. So you got that.
And knowing Steve, you guys can speak to this. I think as athletes yourselves, and I want to hear your thoughts on this. The importance of someone coming in who's an outsider, right? Like in high school, you get transfers, college, you get transfers, but you get someone new that comes in, and sometimes there can be a rub, right? Like, hey, this was my team, so to have a Bobby Wagner who could be like, hey, this is my defense, or somebody else, this is my defense. Yet you have a Dunlap come in, you have an Adams come in. That can really change the chemistry. It does change the chemistry, right? One way or the other. So maybe, speak to that a little bit, your thoughts either as, back as athletes or what you see now, because that could have been a major, dysfunction that could have taken place with a guy like Adams, who is exuberant, is excited. Now he comes in and now all of a sudden he is leading some of those team chants, leading those team huddles. How have you seen that work? Did you like it when you were younger? Did you experience anything like that? Because to me, it's awesome to see how it's happening, but it could have gone the other way.
Hey, real quick, before you guys answer that, I just want to recognize a super chat from Taker610, who I think he meant to say that loss against San Fran last year was hard to stomach. I think we're talking about that end of the year San Francisco rematch turning out to now be the Rams game that is that one. But yeah, last year, again, we don't want to feel that heartbreak of losing the division at home. That was exactly the situation against the Niners last year. It's the exact situation, just a different team, but it's that same division rival at home. We got to take it. So you guys go ahead and answer Coach Marsh's question about that.
Just checking, Norb, I'm getting some static on your speaker, so I'm not sure if that's coming through to others. So.
Nobody said anything on the. Somebody in the YouTube channel give me a thumbs up if I sound okay. Every once in a while, the sound gets weird, and I don't realize that it is. So let me know in the chat. But you guys keep talking.
Yeah, Stephen Squat, what your thoughts? A player coming in with just that kind, the potentiality of it impacting the rest of the team.
No, Coach, you make a great point. But I think that at the end of the day, Jamal Adams, he's a dog. Bobby Wagner, he's a dog. And dog recognize other dogs. And I think that if Jamal Adams wasn't a dog and he wasn't as good as he is, and he didn't exemplify the type of leadership that this team needs, then I think that there would be an issue. But being that I think that he's the best at his position, Bobby Wagner being that he's the best at his position, and being that we're winning football games right now. We're 10-4. And so I think that maybe for a team like the Jets, let's say they had two alphas come in and they started butting heads, then maybe it would be an issue. But I think that because we're winning, because we have the culture that we have, because we have such great leadership and a great front office and great coaches and all that, I think that they're able to work through it. And I just think that at the end of the day, that's what it comes down to. A dog recognizes another dog.
Squab, speak to the coaching side of that. And great stuff, Steezy, on that, man. Like, how important is the coach? As a coach, I never got to see it. I never saw it from that angle, from an athlete's point of view. So what would you see in terms of the importance of the coach playing the role in that? Pete Carroll play a role in that? Not play a role in it? What do you think?
Well, in terms of the transition, I remember first of all, I'll go to the player side, because my senior year, we brought in this dude and he became one of the strongest dudes on our team instantly. This man
did you transfer to their team?
This man was a tank. He was deadlifting 500 his senior year. He was benching over 300. He's only like 5'6", something like that. He's just an absolute tank. He was a little rock, a little bowling ball. He played running back. And I remember as soon as we got him in our locker room, we were looking at this dude's arms and we looked at his size and we were like, yeah, I'm really glad he's on our side, because it was one of those things that he instantly lit up our locker room. And Jamal Adams.
But did you let him talk? Did you give him, even though you see an athlete, like I get, you see an athlete come and go, man, we just got a stud on our team. But to have a stud who also is going to be verbally talking, how did that impact?
So hold on. Yeah. In terms of how he was impacting the field, he was also one of those guys. He wasn't much of a talker. He was a senior, so he naturally became that leader. And we had a special bond because I was a center, he was a running back. But one thing that was really special about him was the fact that, and he relates to Jamal in this aspect, obviously Jamal, a much better communicator. And while he doesn't have the size that this dude had relative at that point, like you don't look at Jamal and like, oh, wow, he's going to make some crazy plays. But in terms of his leadership and his communication, obviously Jamal trumps the dude that I'm talking about. But one thing that his name was James Wilson. James Wilson, one of the things that he did my high school senior year was that I remember at training camp, he was the dude that always went out and hit somebody first. He was the dude that started a fight. He was the dude that began the physicality as soon as we put the pads on at practice. And I know that's the same thing that Jamal Adams does for that locker room.
Yeah, he's the lighter.
So, and you guys are talking about, I really like the point that you guys are bringing up. And Coach Marsh, I want this to come across as a compliment, because that's exactly what this is. That was the best point that I've ever heard you bring up about a Seahawks game in terms of a key for a Seahawks victory this week. And it's nothing against all your other points, because you've said some brilliant points, but this is the best one. The reason being is because you guys were talking about it. We don't have the fans in the stands this week. It's going to be crazy without them. We have a lot of newcomers in this locker room. It's the reason that I said we need to get DK involved early so that he will be a vocal leader in a positive way. A couple of weeks ago, he's not not with us today, but Brian Apker came out and said we were going to blow out the Giants in a dominant victory. And then we ended up losing that game, and he transitioned it from that prediction from that week to the next week, saying that, he was right about the prediction. It was just against the wrong New York team. Well, Norb, I don't know if you remember, but it was you, me, and Steez before the first game against the Rams, and we had that last little segment where we made our predictions for how good DK's game was going to be. And we seem to have forgot how good we predicted that game was going to be. I said something like 2 touchdowns, almost 200 yards. DK has an opportunity in this game to break Steve Largent's all-time single-season Seahawks receiving record in this game. DK has an opportunity to make up for not performing too great in the past couple of weeks. DK has an opportunity for not having more than 2 catches in the last game in this ball game. So I'm saying that my prediction for the previous game was actually about this game. And yes, I was wrong about that one, but I feel like DK needs to get involved early because of what you guys are talking about with how it's going to get our locker room, our guys going on the field. We need to run plays for our superstars and our leaders early and often. DK, I want to see him get the ball on the first play. I want to see him get the ball multiple times on the first drive. Jamal Adams, I want to see him getting blitzes on our first drive defensively, because that's a way to get our leaders chirping. And once our leaders are chirping and our leaders are involved, our defense is going to be, and our offense is going to be playing more together. We're going to get excited. We're going to smell blood in the water, and we're going to get motivated to go win the division.
Preach,
Marvin,
brother.
I gotta say, man,
Preach, brother. I love it.
I'd have given anything to have Squabble be a center for me, and I had some phenomenal centers. So it's not to take away from any of my centers that are watching, but centers do this more than anybody. And I'm not talking trash. Like, they have to communicate all game long. They're talking. So that's why he has the exceptional communication skills that he has. And Steezy, I just don't know as much about your background. I just hear Squabble talking about his playing days, a lot more, which is great. And know that I started my comment, which is why I appreciate that it's a compliment, but I think it's more of a kind of reverse compliment back to you that, again, I started by saying that I took it from the book of Squabble, right? And we talked about being from the Harvard of the Northwest, each of us. So, so 2 wins that kind of go back that direction. So good thoughts. I just think psychologically it's great, but man, I love that energy. And I think the energy you're sharing right now is the energy everybody's going to have come Sunday because of the fun we have. So we know as a fan base, we're going to be better than that fan base down there. But it's it's everybody else. So great points all the way around.
Do you think that
Norb, I think it's your show though. So back to Norb.
No, I love it, man. This is great. Hey, I do got to recognize one of the members of my Norb fam group, one of our all pros. He had it in a super chat earlier. Jason E. He had his own keys. He says, first, run the ball. Second, try to continue getting pressure from the front 4. Third, play a quick tempo and balanced offense. Also, what defense are y'all most scared of? And keep up the good work, guys. Well, what defense are you most scared of? I wonder if he means like which team's defense are we most scared of?
I'm sure he does. Yeah.
It's hard to argue. That Washington game defense and this defense we're about to face looks pretty formidable. We know that. We
figured out the Giants. Right? We figured out Washington. Right. I go back to still being concerned about the Giants. I know we don't have a lot of time to cover this one, but as we look at the playoff picture, if they all of a sudden they were to flop and come back, but there's so many good teams. That's why it's funny to me in the chat when I see people, Arizona sucks, and no, your Rams suck, and no, your Saints suck. I'm like, wait, when did 9-7, 9-7 and 10-6 and 11-5? When did those teams suck? Right? Like, there's other teams that suck, and it's not those teams. So anybody that we have to play moving forward for the rest of this season, I mean, the Cardinals again, they're the team I'm most concerned about for reasons we can talk about later. So
yeah,
I think those keys are crucial. We already know that it's running the ball, winning the turnover battle. There's some key things there. I think it's us starting to kind of look at those finer points now that we're getting into playoff mode. It's those little things that are going to make the difference now.
I'm really excited about. We've talked about a lot of different players. DK's name comes up, Jamal Adams comes up, Russell, of course, Chris Carson. But who's? I've said this during the game against Washington. Who's really impressed me? And we talked about it on the coach's corner. But DJ Reed, man, DJ Reed, especially with the news today that we've been hoping that Quentin Dunbar was going to somehow get on the field. It was announced today that he is officially done for the year. He will not be playing with the Seahawks. At least not suiting up because of his knee injury. I mean, he never really got going. And we were looking at that when they first acquired him, and then all the drama off season. Remember the whole thing with the whole criminal and the bribery and the armed robbery, all that stuff we went through to get him. And he finally gets here. And what does he do? Almost nothing, because he's not even available to play. But from out of nowhere, this guy, DJ Reed, who was cast aside by the 49ers because the 49ers said, sorry, son, you're not going to be playing any more football this year because of your injuries. Seattle picked him up, and look what they've turned him into. He's one of the brightest spots in that secondary that nobody saw coming. This guy's making interceptions. The guy's a hustler. He looks like he's going to break a punt return one of these times. I mean, he's just been, I think, the most unexpected bright spot on this Seattle team. Carlos Dunlap aside, I think we knew what we were getting from him when we got it. DJ Reed, I don't think anybody knew what we were getting from him when we got him. But I don't know if you guys have any other players who just have really kind of jumped out the page. But for me, in my book, that guy's just come out of nowhere and lit up the sky for Seattle. What do you guys think? Anybody else that you think holds a candle up to him?
I've been saying the last few weeks, Hollister. I mean, I love everything that guy's doing. If I'm not a jersey wearing guy, I never have been, but if I was to go get a jersey right now, I'd be getting a Hollister jersey because of the way he's hustling. He's being, when he's being rewarded with throws to him, he's catching, but the blocking, the way he's been blocking in the second and third effort, again, going back to my 3E style of blocking, and man, he just gets after it, and you see him running down the field on the touchdown with Hyde, where he's trying to get to somebody. So, that guy is, again, those little things that other players look at, who are the veterans, who are the guys that you see out at the front. When they see a guy like a Hollister or even our center sprinting down the field on the same touchdown play, those are the guys that I like to see, the unsung heroes, guys that should be, in my opinion, making it to the Pro Bowl that didn't get it, which I know we'll get to in a second if we have time before the quiz.
Yeah, we'll try to cover all that stuff. Jason E., another super chat. He says, are y'all more worried about the Rams defense or any team in the playoffs like Green Bay, Saints, etc.? Obviously, Green Bay and the Saints, they're the ones that are kind of 1 and 2 ahead of us right now. But I think defensively, Saints are pretty tough too. But the Rams are right up there. So I don't know. You pick your poison. They're both tough. I mean, the Saints just get after the quarterback. Rams, they got Aaron Donald, and I
think it's a matter of, do you want to try to score a lot of points to beat a team like a Green Bay or the Saints, or do you want to be in a defensive struggle where it's a lower scoring game, but we're playing against, but we don't have to score as much because we're facing a top tier defense like the Rams. I think we are better against a team like the Rams, where it's a lower scoring game, win in the fourth quarter, than we are trying to get in a shootout with teams that have above average defenses, but aren't a Washington or a Rams type of defense. And that's not saying that all those defenses are great. I mean, they're all great, right?
I want the defense that we can run the ball against, because I keep saying it. If we can keep running the ball, we're going to win the game. That's just the
Jets
formula.
Are not in the playoffs. I keep telling you. You can do the playoff predictor all you want, man. The Jets will not be there.
We ran the ball against Washington, and we blew that front four like they were the Mount Rushmore of defenses, at least as of all of last week, and they schemed them out perfectly and had one of the highest running outputs we've had all season. So, it can be done. And that's what gives me faith of what happened against the Washington game. So, all right, we got to do this. We definitely got to do our score predictions for the LA game. You guys ready to do that?
One more key.
Oh, did we not finish the keys? Where did we leave off? We got so sidetracked, I forgot where we were at.
Okay, let Squabble do his thing.
Squabble has to do his key. Thing. Yeah, we didn't get to Squabble's key. Squabble's third key.
And it might be the most important key. Look, one of the things that we didn't do last time that we played this, guys, was win the time of possession. And I definitely need us to do that. How are we going to do that? We're going to do that by the formula that Pete Carroll laid out for us in press conference a couple of weeks ago. I brought it up before. I brought it up a couple of times, but sometimes we forget about it. And in the loss against the Giants and the last loss against the Rams, we didn't do this key that when we do it, we win 80% or more of those games. And that's between our completed passes and our rush attempts. We need to have 50 or greater combined attempts. We didn't do that, like I said, versus the Giants and at the Rams last time. And we did do that this past week and won the game. So we need to be versatile offensively, and this is how we make it happen. We need to rush the football a lot. This is how we make that happen, is by getting more than 50 cumulative completed passes and rushing attempts.
All right. Great key. And I think I had a final key that I didn't get to say. So my final key against the Rams, I think you guys mentioned a bunch of guys we got to worry about. I'm saying we got to stop, maybe not stop, but we've got to minimize the damage from Cooper Kupp. That guy tore me up in Madden. It just reminded me about how this guy could be so dominating if he gets going. And he just seems to be that guy who just annoys the heck out of you. It's like 3rd and 12 and he gets 13, somehow in the middle of the zone, crossing over. Hate that. So I want to see Cooper Kupp not go off against us while DK Metcalf goes off. He does not. He goes the opposite way. So we've got to find a way to neutralize him. Hopefully DJ Reed and company can do that. And then, of course, throw on top of that, we've got to win the penalty, minimize the penalties, win the turnover battle. And, that goes without saying. So there you go. Those are the keys. Can we do the score prediction? You guys ready for that?
Let's do it.
Let's do it. All right. So let's start. Let's just go counterclockwise, starting with Squabo. Squabo, what is your prediction for the score between the Seahawks and the Rams?
High scoring, down to the wire, 31-29 Seahawks win. All
right. Coach Marsh, your score.
Seahawks win at 21-12.
Ooh.
Wow, that's a low number, and it's really a strange number.
Yeah.
Wow, but I like it. 12. Limit the Rams to 12. I'll take it right there.
4 field goals.
Wow.
Bend, but don't break.
Okay,
Bend,
I love it. Steezy, your score prediction.
So we'll be taking home our first NFC West title crown in I don't know how long by the score of 27-21 Seattle.
Whew, you and I are thinking the same way, brother. I agree. Taking it home, hanging that banner, but my score is just a little bit different from yours. The Seattle Seahawks defeat the Los Angeles Rams by a score of 27-23. Just like I predicted back in August. I said it then, I'm saying it now. That is exactly what I predicted. I actually thought we were going to win, based on the last game against the 49ers, but we'll take it against the Rams. Whew, let's make it happen. All right. So we got a little bit of time. I got to allow time for the world's easiest NorbCam trivia contest as well. So let's do a real quick thing. I wanted to talk about Josh Gordon and then the Pro Bowlers. Boy, I feel like we'd be not doing our viewers to not talk at least a little bit about Josh Gordon. Let's see if we can do this quick, guys. It's been talked about quite a bit on sports radio and all over the place, but what's your guys' overall feel? Maybe just from the level of how much do you think this, factors into your expectation level? How disappointed were you in this, or were you kind of not? How much did the news affect you? Let's go to Steezy.
At first I was a little disappointed because I was kind of thinking that Josh Gordon would provide that spark that our offense kind of needs right now, because in the last month or so we've been pretty stagnant. But I don't know. The more I think about it, I'm just like, you know what? We're 10-4 without him. We have one of the best offenses still in the NFL without him. We're 10-4 without him. And we've done all these things and we've had so much success without him. And I mean, yeah, obviously his presence in the locker room, he would have helped. He loves Seattle. I could tell he's very passionate, about being in Seattle. But I mean, I think that at the end of the day, I mean, he's had so many chances and he's been given so many opportunities. And, if it comes down to this, I mean, I don't know. I'm not too worried anymore, but I was initially thinking like he could provide a spark, but now we're probably either going to have to look in-house or maybe we won't need a spark. But I'm not as bummed out as I initially was. And so I don't think that this is something that Seahawks fans should worry about.
Squabo, your thoughts? Josh Gordon.
Man, I guess I have succumbed to the disappointment that Steezy has let leave him, because I'm pretty disappointed about this, as are the Seahawks coaching staff. Heading into the week, Pete Carroll came out and said, we're planning on having this guy and we're planning on using him. Coach Marsh, you and Steezy and Norb, we all know football is a game of inches. And we were just talking about how we brought in those guys defensively, Carlos Dunlap, Jamal Adams, that can make a play at any given point that wins us a ball game. Well, Josh Gordon did that last year at San Francisco. Like, that was the biggest game of the year, where we knocked off the undefeated San Francisco 49ers in their house in the game of the year on Monday Night Football in overtime. And we wouldn't have won that game, I'd argue, without Josh Gordon making those huge plays towards the end of it, converting multiple third downs in the fourth quarter and in overtime that allowed us to extend our drives and advance down the field, which would have led to punts or kicks otherwise. So I think Josh Gordon not being there is actually a huge thing. And while we can still win this week, and we very well might still, like, I'm predicting us to win this week, having Josh Gordon would be a huge addition. And whenever we bring him in, watch for him to make a key play that changes the game.
Man, it just got me all bummed out. I think I just, was taking a page from the Steezy side. You kind of rationalize what the situation is, and you just kind of go, well, you know what? We're fine. We had him. We didn't have him the whole year. I don't think we're going to miss him. But then you start bringing up that stuff, and all of a sudden I start thinking about that shiny new toy that I thought I was going to get for Christmas because I put it on my Santa's list, and then I found out the Santa's just leaving me a lump of coal in my stocking, and I would get that little shiny new toy that was going to be getting to play with. And all of a sudden I'm bummed out because I really remember reading all the highlights of what this cool new toy was going to have with the shiny sparkling lights and the new overdrive drive system with remote control. I'm not going to have that anymore. Man, I'm bummed out. Coach Mars, I want to get your thoughts on Josh Gordon. But second and goal from the one has a super chat. He says, hold on a second. Don't
let the heat miser ruin your Christmas here. I'm ready for you. You go to the chat. I got your answer here.
Okay, all right. Second goal from the one says in the super chat. Josh Gordon is done. Cut him. Seahawks getting top seed, by the way. Heard it here first. All right. Well, he's feeling like we don't need him. We'll be fine without him. So, Coach Mars, with the lamp, what'd you got?
Look, don't let Squabble Heat Miser ruin your Christmas. Here's the deal. There's a great present there. Unfortunately, Santa just didn't put the batteries in the stockings for you. So it still has time to make things happen, right? But here's the thing. We had a guy by the name of Percy Harvin, a few years back, and it was awesome because he was also able to do special teams. And that's where we, had some electrifying things take place. Last year when Gordon was doing his stuff, DK Metcalf was barely a commodity, wasn't what he is this year. Well, we have our Gordon in DK Metcalf, right? He's the guy who's now doing his thing, and then Lockett, and then our other things. It's very hard as a coach and having experience, even, say if a guy is injured or regardless of the reason they're coming back, when all of a sudden things are going well and you have guys set in their positions and all of a sudden then the star comes back and, they don't lose their position just because they got hurt. My rule is if someone comes back, they get to go right into the rotation. They don't have to earn their way back up. And Gordon wouldn't have to earn his way back in. He'd play. But now all of a sudden you're in a position where, where are you going to put him? Right? You got Lockett, you got Metcalf. You're going to have to try to force feed him the ball to make it work. And again, I go back to what I said about Russ. I want him to read and react. Now, would I like to have Gordon out there? Of course I would. So I don't want to hear people saying, well, you're an idiot. Why wouldn't you want to have Gordon? Yes, of course you want to have as many great players as you can. But because we have running back by committee now, because we have Metcalf and Lockett and the tight ends that are doing their thing, Gordon's a great player, but I don't want to have the guy for a week and then he's gone again. And this speaks to the personal side of things, right? I care about people like Josh Gordon. I love that he loves Seattle. I think Pete Carroll, our community, everybody is perfect for a guy like Josh Gordon. But he's obviously got some personal demons that he has to work through right now. And the fact that this is not a regular season and a regular off season where he could be corralled by those guys. I mean, look what happened in Washington, right? Guy plays in a game where a Hail Mary could have been the victory for him. And then he's caught at a strip club that night. And I know this isn't the NorbCam strip club show, but
I thought about bringing that up. But yes.
Their quarterback goes and does something stupid, knowing that his coach had cancer and is already at risk, and he's going to risk bringing that back. So I don't want to have a guy like a Josh Gordon come in where everybody didn't get a chance to really put their arms around him, and then he makes some big plays, and now we just care about him as the player. Like that, I don't think that's who we are as a team and as a community. And so that, a little bit on getting on the soapbox here, but I'd rather the guy get right. Like, let's get him right and count on him for 2021 season. Get him fresh, get him with Russ, get him doing those things, not coming in at the last minute where if all of a sudden he has a poor game and now he's down and we forced him the ball. We don't have time to try to do that right now. Let's dance with the one we brought to the dance. And that's the guys that we have right now.
Well, in 60 seconds, you just talk me off the ledge. I'm feeling better already.
I'm telling you, all you got to do is turn this thing on and everybody's Christmas becomes a lot better.
Norb, can I talk you back on it? Because I disagree.
Oh, man, look, don't make Norb say a swear word like in a Christmas Story where the kid says the F word to his parents when he helps him with the tire.
Well, I will give you one more chance for rebuttal.
Swab one is rebuttals. I want to hear Steezy talk about Haskins.
I'll keep it brief. No, and that's the thing. If you have evidence that Josh Gordon did something like Haskins did, and he's going to come in and put this locker room at risk, I haven't heard anything like that. So I don't.
I'm saying he's out. He's out because of substance abuse. Because of relapse piece.
If you're talking
that's the
about
personal side.
If you're talking about the personal side of things, I'm not even going to speak on that because I don't know what's going on and I'm not going to pretend to. So that's where I'll put this caveat.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
we actually might agree. But in terms of the on the field impact, I think it's absolutely important, because you talk about you don't want to mess with something that's working really well. Well, our offense, yes, our rushing attack is working well, but we're keeping games closer than they need to be outside of the Jets game. We just lost to the Giants. Our offense isn't clicking like it was early on in the season, even though we have our run game working again. And it's not been as successful as it was before. And one thing that I've talked about with Norb when we found out we were getting Josh Gordon back was that while yes, at the time we didn't know that Greg Olsen was coming back, and he might be able to play this week, he might be able to play next week. But Josh Gordon was going to run some of those same routes and the same roles as Greg Olsen, just not from the tight end position. Coach Marsh, you'll know very well, a lot of coaches like to run the same plays with different looks, different formations, same concepts. And that's one thing that I saw Josh Gordon doing. And instead of playing the DK role, I see him playing more of a Greg Olsen role, a sure-handed wide receiver that you can just give a quick look to inside, and you know he's going to make the grab, because that's what I saw him do last year. He has an opportunity to make some plays down the field, but I think the short underneath stuff, while we kind of ease Greg Olsen back into us, because he's shocking us with how well he is recovering, and we didn't even feel safe last week putting him on the field, even though he looked extremely good. Just ease him back onto the field by letting once we get Josh Gordon outside of off the field stuff, I say just give him some of those Greg Olsen looks from different formations and let him be a check down option.
So, I'll just finish up by saying that with regards to, the last couple of weeks, we scored 40 points against the Jets, which we should be able to do. And we're a couple of circle up catches by DK Metcalf from scoring 28, right? So one more touchdown to me is enough points that we should win every football. You score 28, you should win every football game in the NFL if your defense is playing well, which our defense is. So I think when we're saying that we're kind of stagnant stuff, again, we put up 20 and one play gets us one touchdown. That's 27 or 28, and get to 31. So we're right on that cusp. But again, I think the risk reward isn't worth it. Again, 24 hours ago, if you say he's playing and I don't know the background of why they took it away from him, I'm probably totally agreeing with you. But the fact that there's the personal demons that are kind of coming back out, which allowed him to come back and then had to pull him out again, that to me is why I'd rather just see him, and let's just get him healthy and get him right.
And my understanding as to why they took this action was because he did take a drug test, and he failed it. So
yes,
I don't know what was in that test. We don't know. I don't think that detail has been revealed. But obviously, whatever test he had to pass, he didn't pass it. So it's unfortunate, but it is what it is now. So we have to roll with what we got. Like you said, we're rolling with who we took to the dance. And so,
when are they going to announce Marshawn's coming back? I'm ready for that.
I'm so glad our backfield situation is the exact opposite. Because at this time last year, we had nothing. We had nobody in the backfield, and now we have except for what DJ Dallas. I was unfortunate they got injured last game, but we've got Carson, we've got Penny, we've got Carlos Hyde, we've got our three main stable of horses.
Hey, hold on, I got to answer. NFL Best 11. NFL Best 11. I got to be honest with you, man. Nah, not my thing. Not my thing. I know. I saw what you put in the comment. There's other ways to just have fun and do things. So that wasn't it. So never went. So hopefully that answers your question.
Oh,
but yeah, other things are great, and
I'm sorry.
So I think Steve Largent is coming back. I think we'd get excited about that, right?
I've been to one. I don't know if NFL Best 11 is trying to defend the decision by Haskins on what he did, but I don't.
He's saying that I wasn't young again. And I'm telling you, I'm the hippest grandpa west of the Mississippi, and these guys in the group know it, man. I listen to Eminem, and I go out and I do my stuff, and I'm going to be reacting to things. So I try to be the hippest dude that people know at my age with gray hair.
Well, there's apparently there's 31 other starting quarterbacks, most of them who did actually win the game, who didn't go out and celebrate in a strip club. So
they're just smart, and that's the second break into the protocol.
No excuse.
But again, Harvard of the Northwest, and when I was there, it was the second. It was rated the number 2 party school in America back during the years that I was there, when they actually put a rating out in the magazine. So
and now it's number 1, right?
Info. I think Arizona State was number 1 at the time, but I'm sure the guys that are there now are breaking that. So
all right, we're gonna step off this. I do got to get the pace of this rolling here so we can finish on time. I do want to address the Pro Bowlers thing real quick. We got to keep this real quick. I want to get into a big debate. So here's the Pro Bowlers from the Seahawks, if not my mistaken: Russell Wilson, Bobby Wagner, DK Metcalf, Jamal Adams, Nick Bellore, Quandre Diggs, and Tyler Ott. Did I leave anybody else off that list? Yes, I did. I left Michael Dixon and I left Jason Myers. How the hell are these guys not on the Pro Bowl? I mean, did they somehow get left off the list and people forgot they exist?
It's the only note I have for tonight was making sure those two guys were named, because how the heck do those two not, at least one of them, not make it on that roster?
I mean, it's cool that Tyler Ott, the long snapper, which I think would be, if I were to have a son and I say, hey, son, you want to become a football player? Here's the role you go. Become the best long snapper in the history of mankind, because those guys have the best job because they don't get hit. You can't line up over them, and all you got to do is snap the ball. And
if you have a kid that's going out for football, have them become a deep snapper. There's guys that get full ride scholarships by becoming just deep snappers.
There you go.
They're just great deep snappers.
You may not be on the front of selling sneakers and posters, but man, that's some good job security right there.
And that's what the Pro Bowl is. We talked about that, and you guys can comment on it. But it's not. I'd rather be all pro than make it to the Pro Bowl. Right. I mean, the Pro Bowl, and I mean, it's awesome because you're probably part of the week long, Madden 21 Fest of how they're going to do the Pro Bowl this year. But it's voted by fans and it's fun and it's all those things, but it's names that we know. I mean, to me, a Hollister is one of the best tight ends in the NFL right now.
Tyler Lockett. There's another Tyler who wasn't on that list. Tyler Lockett. I don't know if he deserves a sniff. I mean, but I mean, he's had some amazing performances. Yeah, the numbers aren't gaudy or anything. But anyway, that's just my main thing. Do you guys have any other Pro Bowlers that you felt like should have been on that list that weren't?
Dunlap?
I mean,
question mark?
Dunlap potentially. I think, he's not a Seattle Seahawk, but the fact that DeForest Buckner of the Indianapolis Colts wasn't voted to the Pro Bowl, I think that tells us everything we need to know about just how rigged right. I mean, we saw his absence or his impact when they didn't have him against the Titans a couple of weeks ago. Derrick Henry and the Titans ran roughshod over that Colts defense, but with him in the lineup, they feel the top 5 defense in all the NFL, and so that didn't make no sense whatsoever. But I think they'll make up for it by voting him or by voting him as an All-Pro.
Yeah, that's the one that counts. And MVP. Let's not even bother talking about the MVP because we all know there's only one MVP that really matters, and that's the one that we're going to find out who's going to be in February. All right, I'm ready to move on. We got to get this trivia in, the easiest trivia in the history of NorbCam trivia. You guys ready to play it?
Do it.
I just set you guys up for failure right now.
Let's get after it.
We're starting so late. Like I'm kind of nervous about this. Like,
okay, all right. So I gotta put this in high speed. You're gonna get this in 5
minutes, Norb. We'll roll.
What's that?
Go for it.
Oh, yeah, we're going to do it. Here we go. So get your guys' Kahoots ready, Kahoot.com or Kahoot apps. We're going to get your the game going on right now. Here we go. Here's the pin number.
The names are my favorite part of this thing.
Oh, that's the best part. It's the best part.
This is my favorite part.
Here we go. Sign it up. Where's that music? Okay. Oh, the 415. Sorry. The number is 415. Get your goos. There we go. I'm like not even talking. 415. Here we go. Cameron Hughes. I ate Norb. Aura. Andrew P. Turth. Russack Pixon. Norb's left nut. Ori the goat. I like feet. Squabble's haircut. Your mom. Rain City. Norb's balls. Norb's right nut. Noah equals Metro Man. Go Hawks. Aiden Fam. Casey. Daddy DK. Norb's bum. Boy, you guys have obsessed with my body parts today for some reason, for something. Hawkman, Norb's hairline. Can't even see my hairline. Come on now. Norb's hair grease. Brendan N. Norb for Prez with this sign. Yo boy Mando. Josh G's weed. Norb. Okay, I can't even say that one. Seahawk. Tyler Lockett. Daddy Russ. Marsh likes SC. Juju got Corvette. Dylan. Fake goatee Steezy.
Oh man!
Oh, what do you mean? Norb's don't man. DK is a god. Nick LeBeau, Mark. Oh, I already said that one. DK Metcalf, Fuzzy Dolphins 87. Norb goatee. Norb's don't man. I think I already said that already. All right, let's go. 20 seconds, then we can roll. Again, the number is 415. The shortest pin number in history. 415. Marsh Strip Club. Coach equals Ben Affleck. Future March. Coach equals Ben Affleck. I guess they see a similarity. DJ Ugly. Shams A. Norb Hawks. Norb's Xbox.
I'm just glad I'm getting some names finally. I don't care what they're good or bad.
Arlo loves Hawks. Russell Wilson. Eager Dingo 53. Oh yes, Russ. 10 seconds. 9. Norb's daughter. Hey.
Easy
there. Easy. Norb's head glare. 7, 6, 5, 4, 3. Norb's nuts. DJ Reed. 2. Man calf. 1. And we're going to roll. All right, let's go. The easiest trivia in the history of NorbCam. Thanks to BJ Ayele. I'm in a giving mood. It's Christmas. Here we go. Question number 1. What year did the Seahawks join the NFL? 1980, 1976, 1968, or 2002? What year did the Seahawks join the NFL? 1980, 76, 68, or 2002? Year the Seahawks joined the NFL. Time is up. Oh yeah, 54 dominating. Easy answers there. 1976. Let's go with Steezy.
It was the year my dad was born, so yeah, I got it right.
Easy Steezy. All right, Squabo.
Well, I had a very productive year that year, so I remembered it, 1976.
All right, I got to fix my scoreboard here because unfortunately Brian
I thought
is
these
not
guys would
with
say
us.
2002 because they don't think there's any football prior to that. But it was definitely
It was close.
they actually were formed the year before, but we'll take the 1976.
Well, that was their inaugural season, right? So Bill, that's a 3-way tie. Like I said, 3 perfect scores right out of the gates. Let's go to the scoreboard. In the YouTube land, we got DK in first, Ori the Goat in second, Go Pack Go third, NorbFam Nation in fourth, and Squabo's Haircut in fifth. Next question. Who was the Seahawks' first head coach? Jack Patera, Charles Knox, Thomas Flores, or Michael McCormick? Who was the Seahawks' first head coach? Jack Patera, Charles Knox, Thomas Flores, or Michael McCormick? Seahawks first head coach. Patera, Knox, Flores, or McCormick. Time is up. Whoa, I'm surprised more of you in YouTube
quite a bit of
didn't know
balance
this. Wow. Okay, I thought
wow.
everybody knew that Jack Patera was the first one, but only 23 of you guys got. Maybe not so easy as I once hoped. Let's go to the panel. Steezy.
Well, I got this one wrong before, and that wasn't going to happen again this time. I said Jack Patera.
All right. He learned from his mistakes from before. Squabo.
Yeah, I knew this one.
Marsh, I don't even have to ask you this one.
Yeah, because people remember it because they were formed and they played in the Jack Patera era.
But
That's
that's got a good ring to it. The Jack Patera era. Yeah.
That's how they remembered it.
All right. So we got a 3-way tie. It's 2 points, a perfect score. Like I said, pretty easy so far. Let's go to the YouTube scoreboard. Surprisingly, a lot of people missed that one. Whoa! NorbFam Nation flies to the top. Cool is cool in second. Nick LeBeau third. Rain City in fourth. And Cameron Hughes in fifth. Dylan climbing up 34 places. Next question. Number 3. What player did the Seahawks acquire from the Houston Oilers in 1976 for an 8th round draft pick? Kenny Easley, Cortez Kennedy, Jim Zorn, or Steve Largent? What player did the Seahawks acquire from the Houston Oilers in 1976 for an 8th round draft pick? Kenny Easley, Cortez Kennedy, Jim Zorn, or Steve Largent?
Well, certain
Time
moderator better get this
is up. Yes, there you go. Most of you got this correct. Steve Largent is the correct answer. Let's go to the panel. Steve's.
So I was going back and forth between Zorn and Largent. So I was going to say Zorn, but then I said Largent, but then I went back to Zorn. So
Oh, I was going to say it was a 50-50 at best. Steezy makes the first misstep of this trivia. Squabo.
This is actually the second question that's been on here that I've asked for both Jeopardy, and the last one was the Jack Patera one, and this one I also got correct.
Okay, so 3 points for Squabo. Coach Marsh.
Yeah, he drove there, had very little sleep, and dropped the first 5 passes in the first ever practice and thought he was going to get cut, making it Steve Largent.
All right.
Elena Dahl's favorite player of all time.
Yeah, that's right. Elena Dahl, our moderator, who's in there busy keeping people in line. 3 tie between Bill and Squabo. Steezy with 2. Let's go to the YouTube scoreboard right now. Changes again. Cool is cool. Moves up to first. Nick LeBeau moves up to second. Cameron Hughes in third. Eric in fourth has stopped the count. Gets onto the top 5 at number 5. Up 21 places. Norb's hair grease is the highest climber. Next question. don't use hair grease. True or false? A player has worn the jersey number 12 before the Seahawks retired it. True or false? And bonus to the panel if you can name who it is, if it's actually a person. True or false? A player has worn the jersey number 12 before the Seahawks retired. Well, that's a short answer. But most of you got this. Didn't really have to give anything away. 48 of you got dominating fashion. YouTube got this one correct. Steezy.
I said true.
All right. Because it is true. Squabbo?
I got it right.
Coach Marsh?
Yeah, here's something you don't know, Norb. He was my quarterback coach in high school, and he was my assistant coach in 2012.
Wow, don't name him. I want to see. I want to ask the panel. I want to ask the panel. Do you guys know who this is?
I totally forgot.
Steve,
I remember hearing about it.
I've known it, but I think I asked this on Bolt Jeopardy too, but I can't remember.
Okay.
They just did a special on it last year.
Yeah, they had a YouTube. You can actually look it up. The player that wore 12 before they retired or something like that. The very question. That would be Sam Adkins. Wore the number 12. Yep. And so he doesn't get the honor of being, hey, I'm a retired number player. No, it doesn't have his name on it. Sam Adkins. I did not know about that he was your assistant coach and your quarterback coach. That's pretty awesome.
Yep. Yeah, great guy. Great guy.
Awesome. All right, let's go to the YouTube scoreboard. Let's see where things shake out after that last question. Probably won't change too much, and it doesn't. But Nick LeBeau goes to top spot at number 1. Cool is Cool drops to second. Cameron Hughes holding steady at third. Eric moves to fourth, and Go Pack Go in fifth. Norb's Don't Man is the highest climber, up 16 places. Next question. Number 5. Which team did the Seahawks beat to get their first win in franchise history? Jets, Falcons, Buccaneers, or the Rams? Which team did the Seahawks beat to get their first win in franchise history? Jets, Falcons, Buccaneers, or the Rams? Jets, Falcons, Buccaneers, Rams. Time is up. Whoa, okay, kind of spread around there, but by hair, you guys got most of this correct. Buccaneers. Yes, that was their first win against a team that also came out at that time of the year for their inaugural season. Let's go to Steezy. Yeah.
I said the Jets because we were in the AFC at the time, so I went with the only team that was in the AFC.
Okay. Would have been a good guess, especially in this day and age, but not quite there. Squabbo?
Well, shout out to Sleet. I'm going to use this term. I got pretty lucky on this one. I didn't know what it was, but I was thinking it was between the Buccaneers and the Jets. And I went with, as Sleet would call them, the Succaneers. And got it right.
It should be mentioned too, Steezy, that the first year that the Seahawks came out, they were not in the AFC. They were in the NFC.
Yeah.
So they actually started the NFC, went to the AFC for a long time, and then came back to the NFC in 2002. So your logic was correct, but did not know that. Yeah, they switched. Was it after the first year? I can't remember if they went 1 season or 2 seasons. It wasn't very long before they switched to the AFC, right, Bill?
Yeah. I believe it was just after the first year.
For the first season, yeah. So, Coach Marsh.
Yeah, I definitely got that. I'm hoping that the guys are in the picture that there's going to be a question about what was the first commercial they ever did together. Zorn and Largent's first commercial.
Oh yeah, that's right. All right, let's go to the YouTube scoreboard here and see how things switch.
Not exactly Papa John's.
Oh, everyone keeps moving up. Cool is Cool moves up to second. Cameron Hughes in third. Nick LeBeau drops to third. Go Pack Go up to fourth and stop the count back in top 5 at number 5. Next question. Number 6. What year did Cortez Kennedy win Defensive Player of the Year? 1996, 1990, 1994, or 1992? What year did Cortez Kennedy win Defensive Player of the Year? 96, 90, 94, or 92? Time is up. Oh, wow. Threw a little trick there. Maybe not as easy as I thought. 16 of you guys on YouTube got this correct. 1992. The year I graduated from college, by the way, just to date myself. So yes, that was the year. Let's go to the panel and see what the fellas got here. Steezy?
I was off by 4 years.
What did you say, 96?
Yeah.
Okay, man. When were you born, by the way?
I was born in December of 98. So you weren't even born yet. You weren't even we won't use any
terms, but you weren't even a twinkle in your mom and dad's eye. You weren't even a twinkle. That's a better way to say it. I was going to say something else. Squavo.
You won't be next week's most popular trivia.
Yeah.
But so I knew it was in the early 90s. So I said 94 and got it wrong.
Okay, well, maybe, yeah. So, some stuff that is so easy for us old geezers. Coach Marsh.
Yeah, the last number represents, I think, the number of wins we had that season.
Yeah, that's right. And one of the worst.
that's how people usually remember. Like I think he's the person that won the Defensive Player of the Year with the worst record in the history of NFL.
It was one of the greatest defenses with one of the worst offenses.
2-14, and
on the same
he
team.
was just a dominator.
See, and T-Man says in the chat, Norb, I agree with T-Man. For us young folk, and I'm not trying to age you guys, but it's not as easy for us young folk, man. All these questions are prehistoric to us.
No. Squabble, you gotta understand. Norm was correct. He said you just had to be a lifelong Seahawks fan. We can't help it if your lifelong is like 12 years.
Well, and see, that's the difference. So, like Norb's average, the mean of Norb's audience was like 15. Like the majority of the people watching, they don't know this stuff either.
Yeah,
that's so funny.
I want to wear our historic jerseys. You know those royal ones. Norm and I like, those aren't the historic.
Hey, and I got to give you guys credit. If there were two adults that I knew that would post AARP stuff on social media, it'd be you two. You guys are young.
Hold on,
you guys
man.
are the youngest old guys I know.
Oh man, don't even play that AARP card, man. Come on.
What's that show on ESPN where they freeze the guy and then they X him out and he's off the show after a certain as the show goes on.
Pardon the interruption?
Pardon the interruption. Yeah, Squall's going to get the big X on Frozen and boot it out. Like, I'd say that stuff if it was my show. I wouldn't say that if I was the guest of the show.
I love you guys. I love you guys.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm. Now I see how you really. Now I know what you really think.
For the young people.
Now I know what you really think.
Man.
Oh my gosh.
Squall, are they still carding you when you go into the Coug over there?
He's barely over that legal age, man. What, you're like 22, right?
I know.
Oh my goodness. All right. So where are we at? I'm so distracted. Okay, so 6 points for Bill, 5 for Squabo, 3 for Steezy. I said, I guess reading the questions the first time around, it was the easiest trivia coming from my perspective. Okay, so I guess that doesn't make it easy for everybody.
If you're a true Seahawks fan, you know the history of stuff.
But that's the thing. This is the lesson learned here. You got to know your team's history. You got to know where we've been to know where we're going.
That's why you got to watch. What best show out there right now is Peyton's Place. Like the history of the NFL, some of the stuff he goes through that even I didn't know. It's crazy. So you got to know your history, man.
Yeah, you do have to know your history. That way you can appreciate what we're going through. That way you can appreciate what we've been going through for the last 10 years. Yeah. It wasn't like that the previous 30. All right, let's go to the scoreboard. Here we go. All right, a few changes there. Cool is Cool holds up in number 1. Stop the Count moves up to number 2. Cameron Hughes holds at 3rd. Go in 4th. And Nick LeBeau drops to number 5. Zach up 20 places, trying to get under the top 5. Here we go. Back half of the trivia. 12 questions. Question number 7.
Nick LeBeau's up there, and he's younger than you guys.
Yeah, true. The Seahawks have been in both the AFC and NFC Championship game. True or false? The Seahawks have been in both the AFC and NFC Championship game. True or false? Time is up. Those are short times. I've never done a time that short, but it was quick. Most of you guys got that correct. Yes, the Seahawks have been in both an AFC and an NFC championship game. Let's see how our youngsters fare here. Steezy.
I honestly didn't know that. I didn't think that we were in the AFC long enough to have been in an AFC championship game, so I said false.
Yeah, you must learn much history, young one. Okay, so he's getting tripped up by it. See, I knew I jinxed you guys. As soon as I said it was the easiest trivia contest, you should have known that it's going to be a dagger right there. Squabo.
I got this one right. I did a lot of research about the prehistoric Seahawks.
The Jurassic period of the Seahawks.
Playoff success. And I remember them having some success, but never getting to a Super Bowl. So I did get this right.
Do you remember who we played in that said AFC championship game?
Was it the playoffs that we played the Oilers in the playoffs? I think that was divisional though.
Let me help you out, Squabble. I can help you out with this one. So we ended up then playing the Miami Dolphins, where we had the big catch down the sideline after Largent had caught a ball for 3.5 quarters, kept the streak going. We win the game, and then me and my mom went to the airport where I was wearing my Raider Busters T-shirt. and we end up going down and losing to the Raiders 28-14. 14 points coming by a backup Jim Zorn with a few minutes left to go in the game. Okay. That's knowledge, Squabbo.
And so it was the right year, man. What year was this? Like 20 years before my birth?
The Raiders went on to win the Super Bowl, didn't they?
Yeah, they did. That was the famous Marcus Allen reverse run against the Redskins.
That's how close we were. We were that close back then. Yep. All right. So
we beat them twice, too. That's what was a bummer. We beat them twice that year.
I was just a little squibbo back then.
Little squibs. Just little squibs.
Very little squibbo. All right. So, Coach Marsh, obviously, you know your stuff.
Your mini microphone and the battery.
All right.
So 7 points for Bill, 6 points for Squabs, 3 points for Steez. Let's get to this YouTube scoreboard right now. Cool is cool in first. Cameron Hughes up to second. Stop the count in third. Or the GOAT in fourth. And Nick LeBeau in fifth place. 4 players. Got a 4-streak answer going on. Here we go. Next question. Number 8. What player was notable for getting run over by Bo Jackson on Monday Night Football? Brian Bosworth, Jacob Green, Fred Young, or Kenny Easley? Which player was notable for getting run over by Bo Jackson on Monday Night Football? Brian Bosworth, Jacob Green, Fred Young, or Kenny Easley? Time is up. All right. Brian Bosworth, most of YouTube got that one pretty good. 26 of you got that one correct. Let's go to the panel. Steez.
Back on track. I said Brian Bosworth.
All right. Did you know it, or was it a lucky guess?
I feel like I knew about it, but I don't remember how or why. You're just gonna have to believe me.
Okay. All right. Oh, I believe you. Proof's in the pudding. Squabbo.
I didn't think that it was Easley or Green because I don't know. I just didn't think they got humiliated like that. Correct me if I'm wrong. So it was between Bosworth and Young, and I guessed, but I got it.
Okay. Better lucky than good. Coach Marsh.
Yeah,
I know you remember this.
Yeah, where they said Bo kept running all the way to Tacoma when he ran through the Kingdom Tunnel, and then he ran over the Boz.
Yep.
Right there in the end zone.
So 8 points for Bill, 7 points for Squabble, 4 points for Steezy. Kenny Easley was on the field on that game, and I remember he was the last guy to try to chase Bo Jackson down, and he looked like a kid chasing a man.
80-yard run, and that guy was moving.
Do you guys remember Bo Jackson?
About a guy I wish we could have seen. I mean, he's kind of like the Gale Sayers of our time, right? Like if he wouldn't have hurt himself in that freak play, people would talk about him like he's one of the greatest, 3 greatest athletes of all time.
Yeah,
the guy was just unreal.
It's kind of a forgotten time because they don't really talk about him much. Every once in a while, he might come up in a conversation, but his time was so short; it ended so quickly because he was one of the greatest athletes of that time. He played baseball.
When he ran up the wall in that baseball play, that would be going all over Twitter and YouTube and everything else. And then when he's running over Bosworth, that would have been all over. And those other plays would have happened, but he made more spectacular, breaking the bat over his knee like it was nothing else.
Yeah. Do yourself a favor. Look up Bo Jackson. He did some amazing things. It was just ended so quickly. So. Anyway, let's go to where we at here. I got to go to the scoreboard.
Famous for the Bo Nose commercials too.
Bo Nose, yep.
Bo Nose Diddley.
Yep. All right, to the scoreboard. Cool is cool, still on top. Stop the count on fire with 8 answers in a row. Goes to second. Cameron Hughes in third. Nick LeBeau in fourth. NorbCam Nation in fifth place. Next question, number 9 on the home stretch. Which former Seahawks head coach was the only coach to take 3 different teams to the NFL playoffs? Tom Flores, Chuck Knox, Mike Holmgren, or Jack Patera? Which former Seahawks head coach was the only coach to take 3 different teams to the playoffs? Flores, Chuck Knox, Mike Holmgren, Jack Patera. Time is up. Well, one of these should have been an easy one in the sense, the correct answer is Chuck Knox, for those of you who are wondering. Chuck Knox, but only 13 of you guys got that one correct. Let's go to our panel here. And there's good old Jack Patera showing up, the Patera era. Steezy, any idea on this one?
Yeah, so this exact question wasn't asked before, but there was a question that was somewhat similar.
I think I did ask this question before. So
no, it was the exact same question.
I think it was. I it's been a while, several weeks.
So Steezy, tell us how you came up with your answer, though. with the exact same question coming before.
I think last time around I got it wrong, and it was Chuck Knox last time around, and still is Chuck Knox, and this time around I said Chuck Knox.
So you got it right. Again, learn from your mistakes. It's the best way to grow.
Not a squabble theory. That's not a squabble theory.
Yeah, it wasn't a process of A, B, C, or D or anything like that. So Squabs, you must know this because you remember the fact that it was a previous question.
I'll take credit for that theory. Like I like that theory. Remember it from the same question being previously asked. Yeah. Like that's why I got it right. Actually,
Squabble is a number 47.
I got it correct.
Okay, so Bill, you're tied right now.
I would see where most people would think home run because it's obvious, Packers and Seahawks. So you're probably thinking, well, he must have taken someone else. But Rams, Buffalo, and the Seattle Seahawks belong to Charles Knox.
Charlie Knox. Very good, sir. So Coach Marsh with that 1 point lead with 9, Squabble with 8.
Chuck Knox.
Steezy with 5. All right, still anyone's game, technically. Let's go to the scoreboard here. Cool is cool, just dominating right now, running away with it. Squablo Picasso in second, newcomer to the top 5. Stop the count in third. Cameron Hughes in fourth. Nick LeBeau in fifth. All right, and it says combo breaker. 3 players just dropped their answer streak of 5. That was a tough one. All right, next question. Are we in doubles yet? We're in true, false, double points now. Double jeopardy. Here we go. True or false? The Seahawks lost their first ever playoff game. Yes, the Seahawks lost their first ever playoff game. True or false? Time is up. All right, the answer was false. They actually won that first playoff game. 14 of you guys got that one correct. Let's go to the panel. Again, worth double now. Steezy.
Well, we haven't had a false yet, so I won't false.
That's a good theory right there. So with that, you're right back up in there at 7 points, but Squabble and Bill can add to their lead. Squabble, 50-50 chance. What you got?
I mean, we haven't had a true yet either. So no, I'm just kidding. I honestly looked at this and I was like, you know what? This is a trick. You think because when we first started out, we were struggling. We didn't go to the playoffs immediately, obviously, as a franchise doesn't typically do in their first year of creation. But when we go to the first playoffs, you expect us to just lose. So I went against the odds and said false, thinking that it was a trap, and it worked.
There you go. Good theory. So 10 points takes the lead for the time being. But Coach Marsh can regain his lead with this question right here.
Yeah,
in his wheelhouse.
I always give it to my sophomore English teacher, that 75% theory on true, but that's only if you don't know the answer. When you know the answer, you have to go with what you know is the answer. The answer is false. We did win that first time, which Squabble correctly said in terms of most teams will lose their first time getting there. And we actually played well.
Do you remember the team that we defeated?
Denver.
I do. Yes. The Squabs. Do you remember?
He just said Denver.
Did you say it? I didn't hear him say it.
Denver.
Yep.
The Denver Broncos.
All right. Very good.
It was also in the image.
We don't know that. We don't. He takes a different take. I never put the answer in the image.
Yeah.
He did.
That's what inspired my response right there.
Yeah, I've seen images that aren't even that are definitely not the answer.
Yeah. So I usually for me, whatever's in the image, you might as well forget. That's not going to be a hint. But here, there was actually hints all over the place on several questions. All right, let's go to the scoreboard. We're almost to the finish here. What happens here? Cool is cool, still on top. Squablo Picasso in second. Nick LeBeau up to third. DJ Reed in fourth. And Norb's hairline gets up there in the top 5. Russ up 21 places is the highest climber. Next question. Again, double jeopardy.
Good job, Nick LeBeau, knowing his stuff. Nick LeBeau knows his stuff.
Which Seahawk has the first draft pick in team history? Which Seahawk was the first draft pick in team history? Steve August, Keith Simpson, Steve Niehaus, or Sherman Smith? We've had this question before, too. Which Seahawk was the first one drafted in team history? Steve August, Keith Simpson, Steve Niehaus, or Sherman Smith? August, Simpson, Niehaus, or Smith? Time is up. Wow. Pretty good. YouTube. Most of you got this one correct. Steve Niehaus was the correct answer. And like I said, we have had this question before. Let's see if you guys remember it. Steezy.
I definitely did because I remember getting it wrong last time, and this time I got it right.
Good memory. Good job, Steezy. Got 9 points. One more question to go. Squabo.
See, I don't remember as many of these, like if I got them right or wrong, but I did remember the answer and got it right.
Okay, takes the lead again for the time being, but Coach Marsh can maintain.
Yeah.
You got a perfect streak going here with one question to go.
You can't give me the free. You just gave me the free throw joke. But yeah, it's it's fun. I get to name Sam Atkins and then Sherman Smith, who was again drafted as a quarterback, played quarterback, drafted as a wide receiver, and then played running back. However, he was not the first pick of that draft for us. It was Steve Niehaus.
So, Coach Marsh,
I got it correct.
A perfect streak going here. I don't know if it's ever been done. Have we ever had a perfect streak in our panel? I don't think we have.
This couldn't be a better slate of questions for the prehistoric.
And I guess I should have said, this is the easiest trivia in history of NorbCam for Bill Marsh. That's what I should have said.
76 for 84. Yeah, 76 to 84. Like that's my time, man. I'm wearing Jim Zorn's number and lefty quarterback and large end. I mean, that's all I lived for was Seahawks football.
All right,
I was like 18 at the time.
That's all I lived for too. I just don't remember it as well.
Let's get to the finish, but we have the scoreboard on YouTube for the update. Oh, cool is cool. Drops. Squablo Picasso takes the lead with 9,609 points. Cool is cool, though. Right behind him at second. Nick LeBeau in third. DJ Reed in fourth. And NorbFam Nation back in there at number 5. Beast up 28 places trying to get into the top 5. But here we are with the final double Jeopardy question. Here we go. Number 12. Who scored the Seahawks' first ever points? Steve Largent, Don Bitterlick, Sam McCullum, or Jim Zorn? Who scored the Seahawks' first ever points? Steve Largent, Don Bitterlick, Sam McCullum, or Jim Zorn? Largent, Bitterlick, McCullum, Zorn. Time is up. Whoa! All of them but the guy who did it. This is probably the hardest question in the whole thing that I saw. Don Bitterlick was the correct answer, a name that just doesn't jump out of the page as a former Seahawk. But let's find out in this final question where we stand. Steezy?
I was going to go with Zorn because I was thinking that, quarterbacks usually have a hand in most touchdowns. But then I was like, nah, that'd be too easy. So I went with Largent, and I still got it wrong.
Tricky one. All right, so Steezy finishes with 9 points. Now, last time I messed up the climactic finale of announcing the numbers, but in this case, I don't think I can mess it up because you're going to have to answer the final question, potentially, unless... Yeah, no, I got to go Squabble. I got to go Squabble. I got to go Squabble first.
Yeah.
All right, so Squabble.
What theory came up with.
Can you make this last question, at least... Well, you still got the record to get, Coach Marsh. So we go to Squabble to see if he can take the lead. Squabble?
Man, it's a lot of pressure. But the theory that
there's no tie here. You're either going to win it or lose it. There's no tie happening.
The theory that I called upon for this question was one from the previous question that we had about the guy who got ran over on Monday Night Football by Bo Jackson. And there were two obvious answers that were like, okay, everybody knows them. And then there were two like, and it was one of those two, like nobody really, like us guys wouldn't really know who they were. And so I took Jim Zorn and Steve Largent off the board because those were the gimmies. And it was between weird name and weird name. And I had 50-50. And when in doubt, go with the weirdest name of them all. And I actually got it right with Don.
Oh my gosh.
Bitterlick.
What a crazy theory. The weird name theory. Squabbo's weird name theory works. Takes the lead in well, it's not overtime, but in the final possession, or their final possession takes the lead, but Bill Marsh gets the ball with one last chance to drive down the field and score the winning score right here. The question is, can he pull it off? Down by 1 point.
Leave too much time on the clock.
No, so here's what's fascinating about being on live YouTube feeds and such is that Squabble and I did not have a chance to, obviously we don't even know the questions and stuff. So the fact that he said he took it down to 50-50, there's a famous Who Wants to Be a Millionaire show where the guy gets to the $1 million question and he's got one last lifeline. And he says, I want to call somebody. He calls his dad and he tells his dad, I'm not calling you to ask you what the question is or what the answer is. I'm calling to let you know I'm about to win the $1 million.
Oh, that's cool.
Squabble, I'm letting you know I'm about to win the $1 million because I got the right answer.
And so with that, I think that becomes the first ever perfect perfect panel record score
right here
in a NorbCam trivia contest.
It's the non-strip club Christmas story leg lamp, which is going to be my official logo of my 2020 show, I think. Just
wait, put that back up there so we can see it. There we go. Got to go full screen with it.
Official leg lamp of the my channel.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I got to give credit to
perfect for Christmas.
Christy's the one who puts this up every year, and it's fantastic. So this is a Merry Christmas to all, and to all a good leg lamp.
All right. Well, congratulations, Coach Marsh, on getting the first ever perfect score. I wish I had some fanfare music.
I got crushed like 5 weeks ago. 5 weeks ago, I think I got crushed by you guys. So it's nice to keep bringing the prehistoric. You stay with this current stuff, I'm going to lose all the time, bro.
All right. Well, let's go and see. Let's see how the YouTube audience did with the final. Let's see, I can go this way. Let's see how they did here. The final scoreboard. Here we go. Let's see who finished in the top 3 and who the winner was. Thanks again, BJ Ayele, for the trivia here. Third place, NorbCam Nation, 9 out of 12. Second place, 11 out of 12. Cool is cool. And in first place with 10 out of 12 questions, Squablo Picasso, Nicola Bow, and DJ Reed were the runners-up, 4th and 5th. Squablo Picasso, congratulations on winning the trivia. Amazingly, only 10 out of 12 correct. Cool is Cool had more correct answers with 11 out of 12, but because of the points and the double jeopardy factor, Squablo Picasso was able to inch him out by getting 11,249 versus the 11,012 points that Cool is Cool got. Maybe it was the speed of the answer or the double question point value, but either way, Squablo Picasso is the winner in today's trivia. Take a shot at that winning screen there. Send it to me at my email, norb@norbcam.com, and we'll get you on a future fan panel as well.
Yeah.
It's Golden Sea.
You know what they don't have, Norb? They don't have a see-through. They don't have a see-through Christmas hat like you have on right now.
I know. Awesome. Isn't that cool? That is so
splendid. Yeah, you can see right through it.
That's right. It's translucent, man. Just like Squabbo's jacket that he got from his sister. It's also awesome, see-through. It's just like wearing cellophane. Anyway, all right. So that was awesome. Congratulations, you guys. Oh, look at the just on command. The 12 light lit up, which can only mean one thing. Super chat. Alina Dahl says, "Thanks, Coach. Showing the leg lamp. My favorite movie. Happy Festivus and Christmas, everyone." Alina Dahl, thank you. And we got to chat with you last time on the show. Merry Christmas to you. Happy holidays to everybody, too. So thank you, Alina, for all you do and being a fantastic moderator. So at this time, the time is perfect. I got to get out the door here. So I'd be remiss if I didn't give my guests here a chance to talk about what they got going on. So let's do that. And let's start with Squabbo first on the top left.
Well, I love you guys so much. First of all, everyone that's here, Merry Christmas. And if you don't celebrate Christmas, happy holidays. I'm just so thankful for everyone here. It's the season of giving. It's the season of thankfulness. So thank you guys so much for having me on the show. Coach Marsh and Steezy for constantly teaching me and for bringing great expertise to the table. Thank you all very, very much. And for Norb, too. Obviously, you teach me more than anyone here. So thank you very, very much. I'm also in the season of giving, and that is why on Christmas, I'm giving you guys my prediction video and my keys, more analytical, more of a deep dive into my keys for how the Seahawks can win the division this Sunday versus the Rams. So expect a Christmas video on my channel at DJ SQUABO and show these guys some love in the season of giving and give them a subscribe.
I like that. Thank you, man. Yes, and of course, yes, to everybody here. We would all love a little subscribe and love from y'all. Let's go to Steezy. What you got going on your channel?
Yes, sir. As always, it's always a pleasure being here. I always look forward to these roundtables every single Wednesday. And I love just, being surrounded by you guys and all the fans in the super chat, doing the trivias. I can't wait to see what 2021 has in store for us, but I want to wish everybody happy holidays, happy Kwanzaa, Merry Christmas, happy Hanukkah, all that. I got a video dropping tomorrow for all my NBA fans out there. Why I think the Miami Heat should still continue to pursue James Harden. And because it is the season of giving, the first person to comment on that video, you'll get some Steezy merch. And so for anybody that's still listening, be on the lookout for that. Whoever the first one to comment is, be sure to let me know if I don't see it myself. But the first person to comment, get some Steezy merch. It's not going to premiere. So just whenever it drops, Whoever is the first person to comment,
Be ready.
You'll get some season merch. So just be ready. Be on the lookout for that. And once again, Merry Christmas. I love you guys.
All right, fantastic. Another super chat alert just popped in. So Dukes of Hazzard, haven't heard from you in a while. Dukes of Hazzard, Merry Christmas, Norb and family. Thank you, Dukes of Hazzard. I appreciate you. Same to you and your family. Merry Christmas to you and happy holidays. Coach Marsh, last but certainly not least.
I got to say, this is the most enjoyable show I've done to date, from coaches' corners to roundtables. I think this was just such a blast, and I hope everybody in the super chat had fun. I think this is what the season's about, right? It's having fun, it's laughing, it's being jovial. This year has just been crazy. So to be a part of something special like this is fun. And Squab's great background. Love seeing the background there. Steezy, love that you're continuing to drop the stuff that you're dropping and implementing other sports and such. So I'm just gonna say, let's just have a great rest of the week. Enjoy your Christmas. We'll have a coach's corner coming up later in the week. And just Norb, thanks for everything you're doing. We got 8 days to get Norb to the number that he has. And remember, as I like to say, let's live life one play at a time. Right there.
One leg at a time.
One leg at a time.
All right. Well, thank you guys. I want to thank my guests. You guys are awesome. That was a lot of fun. That's some good spirited debate going on back and forth over some very controversial topics tonight. But man, let's go get that win over the Rams on Sunday, man. Let's get the NFC West. We haven't had that banner in our house for a while, so let's get that win. Hopefully they can follow some of these keys and get it done. Again, so thanks to my guests. Thanks to everybody who was supportive in the super chat. And then just to everybody who was just here watching us talk about what we love so much about this game and about the Seahawks. It's fun that we can share our thoughts with all of you, and you guys make it happen by being there to view all this. So we appreciate you guys' support. So that's it, you guys. We got more videos coming up this week, so watch the videos that these guys got coming on their channels. Like I said, Coach Marsh, we got to figure out our upcoming thing with the another Coach's Corner to jump into a little more detail on things, but I will not be in my studio for the game, as I will be on the road. So I'm going to take this on the road myself, and I will figure out a way to still do a live reaction to this game. I just have to be a little more creative, like the olden days before being in the studio. So I'll find a way to do it.
Was that back in the prehistoric days?
The Jurassic days of NorbCam and Seahawks.
We'll show them some of your vids so they know what prehistoric was all about.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I got some prehistoric videos for you. That's for sure. All right. Thank you guys. Have a great rest of your week. And again, happy holidays. And if you do celebrate Christmas, Merry Christmas to all of you, and to all, a good night. Go Hawks.